if you want it, you're going to have to go get it like I did. And
how bad do you want it?
That's exactly what I said.
For over 40 years, Greg Peters was a fixture in Maine racing. He was a driver, crew chief, and mentor. He was also a husband, father, grandfather, uncle, and friend. In 2021, Greg's race of life ended sooner than any could have hoped when he passed away from lung cancer at the age of 68. Though Greg is physically gone, his tremendous impact has carried on through his family, friends, and favorite sport, auto racing. This impact has led to the creation of GNG's Gift, the Greg Peters Memorial Sponsorship, a $5,000.09 racing sponsorship awarded to one up-and-coming New England race car driver. Grand National Greg, or as he was affectionately called, GNG, possessed an unmistakable aura. His family focus, unbreakable work ethic, and passionate dedication for success were always on full display. Those same qualities make up the inaugural winner of GNG's Gift. This recipient has demonstrated these core qualities for several years and articulated why their race team would be deserving and proud to represent the legacy of Greg Peters.
The buzzword is how bad you really want this, and I really wanted it. And you reach a point in your career where it's time to give back. And I've always been somebody that just enjoyed helping people.
I was married to Greg for over 33 years, and for the past 20 years, I've watched as he and John spent countless hours together, not only in racing, but in life. I was looking for someone to express a similar family bond in the applications. Was also looking for someone pursuing their passion and desire to succeed. This includes racing, of course, but also in education, work, and family.
Although this is a racing sponsorship, I was really looking for a candidate who showed positivity on and off the track. I really appreciated seeing somebody who was passionate not only for racing, but also excited to share with us all of their accomplishments in all aspects of life and show us just how much they really enjoy helping others, just like my dad did.
For years, this driver has displayed consistent, tremendous on and off track sportsmanship and earned the respect of their fellow racers and fans.
Who is that winner, you ask? Let's find out together. Congratulations to Garrett Lamb, the inaugural winner of GNG's Gift.
$1974, the first running of the Oxford 250. Way back when, the first running of that, it was a 200-lap race. Here tonight, this afternoon, rather. That's going to be a couple of times we're going to make that mistake. This afternoon here with the NEPs League, we're going to be running the first annual GNG's Oxford 250, and we're going to be doing it honoring our friend, the late Greg Peters, who unfortunately lost his battle to cancer. But we are here to put on a heck of a show, and Greg Peters, we know you're watching. We're going to put on a heck of a show here, and we're going to honor our friend here on Verdane TV. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Sunday afternoon racing returning to Verdane TV. Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr. in the booth alongside Tim's Corner Motorsports' very own Tim Terry. Tim, we got a big fight feel in the air here.
Yeah, absolutely. 24 cars have already checked in and getting their final practice laps in. About 10 minutes left in practice before they have their 2-lap qualifying session. The one thing that separates this one from the real one, and I don't want to poke the Corey Casagrande bear early today, but no heat races today, Paul. 2 timed laps, and then we'll go 250 laps this afternoon to crown a winner in the GNG's Gift Oxford 250.
27 cars qualified into this event. The top 20 in points locked into the event. And last Tuesday here live on Verdane TV, we had the Oxford 250 qualifying races and got ourselves a field set for some of the best sim racers that this continent has to offer. A couple Canadians peppered on in here with the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. And A little bit different than the super late models. We run the Xfinity cars here in this series. If you're not familiar with the NEPs League, they run every Thursday night, usually here live on Verdane TV. Working season number 3. One of the big things about today, Tim, it's a points-paying race, and it's the longest one of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the biggest that they've had in a while. We've covered the Trans Am series that these drivers have, and the Super Trucks last year, and obviously the Shift Marketing Design Grand National Series is going to be one to watch, especially with this one. Points are tight. Still 24 cars in this racetrack. Anything can happen. John Peters does hold that point lead by 13 over Mr. Belvedere. Zane Farrell has fallen back a little bit after our race at Talladega, the JI Music, flirting with disaster race on Thursday evening. So points may shake up here a little bit as well. But we saw last night with the prelude to the 250, the TCM Super Late Model race, that in those cars, Paul, this racetrack is probably a groove to a groove and a quarter. We saw with the qualifying races with these Xfinity cars, it opens up a little bit. They're a heavier race car. That outside groove comes into play on some of these restarts. So keep that in mind as we go forward, because I'm sure there's going to be a couple restarts or 6 throughout this one, right?
Yeah, a couple restarts of 6 indeed, and you can see there on the Verdane TV timing and scoring tower there on the left-hand side of your screen. That's going to be with us all night long. About 7.5 minutes left in the final practice here for these drivers. We're going to get 2 laps of qualifying here at high noon, and then a little bit of time, a couple of minutes or so for these drivers to get the final warm-up in, and that gives us an opportunity to kind of talk to some of the drivers here in the field, and we're joined by one of our good friends here in the league, Mr. Jeff Brown. Jeff, you got a copy?
I do. I'm trying to turn a couple last laps, but there's really not much you can do. You know the strategy. This is a long race. This is one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. It's just not a place to trifle with. You kind of have to ease it in. Don't use more brake than you have to. Don't use more throttle than you have to. You're driving with an egg under your foot the whole time.
And all the drivers here in the NEP series going through some pre-race rituals, making sure that they are ready to go. They got the food lined up, the girlfriends and the wives on standby with the extra snacks. I know Corey Casagrande has a little bit of help in the snack department this afternoon. Long race here, 250 laps at Oxford Plains around this 0.38 miles racetrack. And you got to figure there's going to be a couple of cautions here throughout the afternoon. So gonna make potentially for a long afternoon here at the track, and we're looking forward to getting into it here. Now, Jeff, do you have any kind of strategy getting into this? We know it's the longest season, or the longest race rather, on the NEP schedule, I think, in the past 3 years. Now working halfway through season number 3 with the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. Do you have any kind of strategies going into it other than the extra snacks and drinks lined up?
Survival's about all it comes down to. I mean, you got 250 laps. You look at a real Oxford 250. You look at the way it plays out as far as strategy. You're going to count on trying to get that pit stop maybe around lap 150 or so. Everybody's got 3 sets of tires, so you've got a little bit more rubber to go through the distance than you might in the traditional 250. But it's a challenge. Strategy's tough. You kind of have to see where the track plays you, because if you have to pit under green, your night's over.
100%. And we're taking a look now. John Peters on top of the board. Quickest time in practice at 15:86. Ricker right in behind him. Messer with a bunch of fans over on the Facebook and the YouTube. Salza and Mr. Belvedere, the top 5 in final practice so far here with about 5.5 minutes left. And taking a look around the racetrack, it's we want to give all the drivers here an opportunity to kind of talk a little pre-race action here. And we've caught up with Kenny Kibbe. Kenny getting into the biggest race here of the season, the Oxford 250, the inaugural GNG's Gift Oxford 250. What are your thoughts heading into this one?
This one's going to be tough. This track is just so difficult, and it's going to be tough to pass. It's a long race. It's going to be kind of an endurance race of sorts. Yeah, I'm optimistic, I guess. I just hope I can have a good qualifying run and just kind of stay there all day, to be honest.
We asked Jeff and a couple of other drivers here before we came on air. We know there's a lot of pre-race rituals going on. Everybody getting ready for the longest race here of the NEP schedule, the NEP season here halfway through season 3. What have you got to do to prepare for this race? 250 laps here at Oxford Plains.
Well, I just try to hop into the server when it starts and basically just try to run some laps, and that's about it. I mean, not a whole lot else. Get my live stream of my own going, and settle in and just try to run some clean laps. I'm not worried about single lap pace. I'm worried about just being consistent and clean and protecting my tires the best I can. So just trying to get into a rhythm here. And I've never really raced these cars at this track before, but I have experience here. So just trying to get into a rhythm.
100%. And Tim, these drivers know that it's going to be a long race here this afternoon. Everybody looking pretty good, looking pretty smooth here in practice. You can see the 14 car, Zane Farrell, moving up there to second on the board. Quick time so far. And speaking of quick time there, Tim, looks like you've caught up with Mr. Peters himself.
Yeah, we've got about 4 minutes or so before we go racing this afternoon. John, obviously, I'd ask you how the car is, but it looks pretty quick.
Yeah, afternoon, gentlemen. Morning. Afternoon. We're happy with it so far. Just trying to get acclimated and remember how to do this. It's been a couple weeks since I've run here at Oxford, and it's just so different than everything else. So just getting back in that discipline and remembering how to make small circles here, and it seems like so far so good, although Evan just jumped to the top of the board, so clearly he's got it figured out too.
We ran Talladega on Thursday night, obviously qualifying not as important there as it is here. How pivotal are these 2 laps going to be coming up in about 3 minutes time?
Oh, they're huge. It's going to be so difficult to pass, and we've already experienced some of that in practice, and certainly you saw that a couple weeks ago in the qualifier race. So this track, probably more than any that we're going to go to, is track position centric, and I would expect that to be no different here. So it's very important to get 2 good laps in, and then I think the top 3 are going to have a hard decision to make there with the NEPs challenge. I've been thinking about that myself if I'm lucky enough to be in that top 3. So we'll see what happens.
Championship points were in the second half of this season. You gained a little bit at Talladega. How big is that on your mind going forward here in the biggest race of the season?
Yeah, it's about that time to start shifting your mindset there. And I think now that we're through Talladega, you're looking at these next set of races as pretty much heads-up opportunities to either make some ground or lose it. So it kind of starts here today at Oxford, just to put in another solid race and not end up on the hook or deep in the field. And I think that'll probably be the case going forward now. It's about that time.
Big show, lots of meaning. GNG's gift is on this race. It's one of the biggest races that NEPs has ever put on. What would it mean to go to victory lane here this afternoon?
It would mean the world, certainly for a number of reasons, like you mentioned, and to see this league grow into something special now and be able to put on an event like this is also really cool. Just remembering back to where we started. I mean, our first race at Thompson a couple years ago, we had to end after 24 laps due to number of caution flags. So now that we got a really good group of guys together and we're all here running this race, this caliber race at a tough racetrack, it's cool to see, exciting to see, and it would certainly be cool to come out on top.
We've got about 60 seconds before qualifying. For those that might not know about GNG's gift, give us about a 60-second synopsis summary of why we are racing here today.
Yeah, absolutely. GNG's gift is a sponsorship program that was established for my late father, Greg Peters. We basically select one up-and-coming New England race car driver every year to give them a $5,000 and 09-cent sponsorship to go race. And we pick that racer based on the same qualities that my dad had. We just crowned our first recipient last week in Garrett Lamb, and we're excited to follow him this year and then do it all again next winter.
Well, there you go. A couple more seconds before qualifying. John, we wish you all the best. Go get him today.
Thanks, guys. Have fun.
There you go, Paul. That's John Peters. And actually, he's following or leading a line right there in practice with it's going to be hard to not call that DJ Girard. It's Cody LeBlanc in the 13 car today. In behind them, Jeffrey Brown and the Dave Dion. We never mentioned the paint scheme on Jeff Brown's car, but he's driving a Dave Dion throwback scheme. And Brent Roy also there as well. Mike Hopkins coming out for the final couple of moments of practice as we get ready to go qualifying here this afternoon. The other change, David Arute in the 44 car for Scott McDonald. This is a point race, so the any points accumulated by Cody LeBlanc will go towards DJ Girard. Any points accumulated by David Arute will go towards the 44. And a couple of late entries. I know the 75 is out here. Mike Alexander did not technically qualify, but I think got a provisional with a couple of drivers not being able to make the field here this afternoon, Paul. So we have 26 cars getting ready to go qualifying here this afternoon.
And each of these drivers is going to get 2 laps of qualifying around this 0.38-mile racetrack, and you'll be able to see a couple of those drivers pop up, and you'll see little times pop up there on the left-hand side of your screen with the Vidane TV scoring tower. And big fight feel for this one, Tim. We've been looking forward to this race all season long here at Vidane TV, as well as NEPs, the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Group, the Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. And it's going to be fun to watch these big, heavy Xfinity cars around this this racetrack here at Oxford Plains, usually built for super late models and I don't want to say smaller race cars, but some of the lower divisions and things like that. And we saw a heck of a show here the past last Tuesday night with the qualifying races. We saw a heck of a super late model show last night with the TCM special events. And just taking a look at the point standings coming in, got to give a shout out to Ryan Salvatore, the stat man, making sure that we get all the information we need as we get into it. And the top 5 in points looks like this: John Peters, Evan Belvedere, Zane Farrell, Brent Roy, and Kenny Kibbe, all in the top 5, separated by 44 points. And John Peters coming in with a 13-point lead over second place Evan Ballou. And both of those drivers, the 56 and the 09, very quick here at Oxford.
And with this being a 15-minute qualifying session, some are, I believe, waiting to take their laps and do their, the run to the porta potty in the infield per se before we go racing. Charles Lewandowski currently top of the board after 2. His second lap at a 16:02 is the quickest. Ryan Messer was on the racetrack as well in the 1. Mike Hopkins pulling off a pit road, as is Wyatt Alexander. And Messer's going to start at the back. Ryan Messer's over in the rhubarb down in corner number 1, hit the wall on lap number 1 coming to 2, and that will negate both of his laps because he's got incident points. So Messer will start at the rear for the Oxford 250.
And that's going to be something to watch, that one car fast, no matter where he goes. And lots of fans for Ryan Messer in the Facebook chat, in the YouTube chat as well. And we want to thank you guys for joining us on a Sunday afternoon. I know there's a lot of football games going on today and lots of things you could be watching, but you're here watching us here at Vidane TV as we see Zane Farrell roll out on the track to take his qualifying laps, see what he can do compared to Charles Lewandowski with a 16:05, currently the pole sitter after 4 cars have gone out on track to make times. And lots of cool stuff going on, so let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting for in the Facebook chat, the YouTube chat. We're live all over the place on the Vidane TV Facebook page, Tim's Corner Motorsports, the NEPs Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series Facebook page, as well as Rent a Race Car and our YouTube page over on Vidane TV. All over the place. So we want to thank you guys for jumping on in, watching us here, listening to us, call some action here at Oxford Plains. And again, the biggest race of the NEPs season, biggest race in NEPs history here in their young 2.5 year existence here. And you can see Libby jumping up on top of the board there with the 46 car at 15:88. Ricker there, 0.02 of a second slower than him. And qualifying time's kind of dripping on in. You made mention, Tim, no heat races. We're qualifying and getting ready to start here. Green flag's going to drop at 12:15. Once these drivers get wrapped up with qualifying, we'll see if we can wander around the track one more time and get us a final lap in, see if we can talk to some of these drivers.
Corey Casagrande qualifies in 6. I was about to poke the bear again that if he was 14th, I think, on his first lap, Paul. If it wasn't for that, he might have wanted to go heat racing with the way that car 2-lap qualified, but it's up to position number 6 right now. Cody LeBlanc, the DJ Girard 13, is going to qualify in 5th. There are still a couple of drivers still to qualify. Stephen Daddio is on lap number 2 right now. His first lap is good enough for 12th at a 16:13. He comes at a 4. He'll come across the stripe. He'll loop it around the stripe, a little slower on lap number 2 to an 18, so that'll still put him in P12. Kyle Souza has yet to put down laps. Looking down here, it looks like John Peters is going to go to the top of the board in the 09 at a 15:86. He is on lap number 2. He comes out of corner number 4. Does he better it here? He will not. He slows down on lap number 2, and he'll go to a 97 on the second lap. Reagan Parent still on pit road. Kenny Kibbe has yet to qualify. Mike Alexander has yet to qualify, and Dylan Kopech is on the racetrack right now to complete lap number 1. We'll see what the 16 can pull. Was good in the open qualifying sessions or the practice races before. He's Paul, not good. 19th right now to 16:29.
Yeah, going to have to dig a little bit deeper here as the afternoon goes on for that number 16 ride. Struggling in qualifying. We'll see what he can do here in the 250 lap. We're going to move up to 10th, though, for Kopak in the 16, so that's good news there. See if we can maybe call up the man in charge here, Corey Casagrande, in one of the 73 7 cars that we've got in the field here this afternoon. Corey, big race here this afternoon. Biggest race in NEPs season, biggest race in NEPs history, man. What are your thoughts going into this one?
Well, looking at the time charts, I'm pretty happy. I qualified in the top 10. We were 18th in final practice, so that's pretty good. I think it's going to be kind of a fight to get to the bottom here. Luckily, I'm starting on the bottom, is what it looks like right now. That's if everybody went yet. So that's good for us, and it'll be interesting. It's going to be tough to pit and not go a lap down, but there's definitely going to be times where you have to pit. So that's kind of the plan. Just kind of, if we can stay in the top 10, I think it'll be easy to stay on the lead lap at all times and set ourselves up for a decent finish.
Longest race here of the season. Longest race, I think, in NEP's history here in the young 2.5-year series or season that we've had here with NEPs on Vidane TV. And we know drivers have pre-race rituals, and this race a little bit longer. What have you got to do to get yourself prepared for 250 laps here at Oxford Plains?
Honestly, I don't know. I thought about opening my window, but it's only 1 degree outside. I got the fan on full blast. I just went pee. I mean, I don't really know. I've never done the longest I've ever done in real life is 150 laps, so I don't know. I don't even know if I can make 250.
A little bit of a war of attrition in more ways than one here, but I do want to give you the opportunity. You're the man in charge, one of the admins here, and the founder of the NEPs League. Who makes it happen for this league? We've been around for now working season number 3. Lots of fans all over North America, Canada, North America, the Northeast. Lots of people checking in all across the country. Give us a little bit of a rundown. What is NEPs? How can we get involved?
Yeah, well, obviously just a bunch of us got together when the pandemic started and wanted to race and, stay in it. And it's been turned into a pretty good deal. Obviously, John Peters in the GNG race, something we came up with this year. And it's pretty cool. We're all, 90% of us, I guess I'd say, are Northeastern guys. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm excited for it. You can get a hold of us if you want to do something on our Facebook or Twitter. We kind of go pretty hard on Twitter, and we have a good time doing that. So, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm glad we were able to get together with you guys and create a little fun dynamic of it and being able to show our races live.
100%. It's been an absolute blast over the past 3 seasons, and looking forward to the future, and looking forward to NEPs night in the afternoon here this Sunday afternoon for the Oxford 250, the inaugural Oxford 250, brought to you by Grand National Greg's Gift, and a great afternoon of racing coming up on tap. And Corey Casagrande and the 7CT going to start from the top 10 in the 8th position, so we'll see where Corey ends up after 250 laps.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And by the way, Corey, he left. Okay. Outside starting position now is Kenny Kibbe, qualifies position number 5. There is still one more bullet in the chamber, though, Paul. Mike Alexander has yet to qualify. And I believe, Paul, you've caught up with another one of our fast drivers, and he's got a couple of wins this season.
Got a couple of wins and doing very well in the points. Evan Belvedere himself currently slated to start 4th. We got a couple more bullets out there that have to go out and qualify, so we'll see if that changes here in the next couple of moments. But Evan driving the number 56 car, getting ready. Big fight feel here this afternoon. The longest race in NEPs schedule here in history. The 3 seasons that we've been broadcasting these races here in Vidane TV. What's going through the mindset right now, driver 56?
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of just being there for the last 50 laps. It's just like the real thing. I mean, that's what iRacing is all about. It's to make a virtual, simulation as close to the real thing as they can, and that's going to be true in this race. So it's going to be all about strategy and make sure that you play the right strategy and you have a shot at it with 50 to go.
And we've talked to a lot of the drivers here throughout the pre-race show here, and even before we went on air, and a lot of the drivers getting ready for this long race. 250 laps is nothing to shake a stick at here at Oxford Plains. What have you got to go through to get yourself mentally and physically prepared here for 250 laps, even on the simulator?
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, even just in practice, I was running 30, 40 lap runs, and my right arm was falling asleep. So, stretch it out and make sure that you do all the things you do in a real, for real racing. Make sure that you're hydrated, but just got to make sure that you're mentally in it for 250 laps.
Getting ready to go here. Got just a few moments ready to wrap up here in qualifying, letting all these drivers get those pre-race rituals on here. And Evan, we'll get you back down into the race car. Get ready. Hopefully we talk to you later on this afternoon.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for everything you do. This is going to be fun. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it for sure. And we're just waiting for the final couple of moments, getting ready to take that green flag here at quarter after 12:15 p.m. Eastern time. And lots of drivers in this field, Tim. Lots of action, lots of hype in this one, and see if we can catch up with these two drivers here. Zane Farrell in the number 14 car, and we're going to see if we can catch up with the Magnum Michael Hopkins too. You guys, you made it down to Dunkin' Donuts, little Dunkies action this morning. We didn't wreck anybody in the drive-through line, did we?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Mike Hopkins, driver of the 78. We kid because we care. We always see Mike Hopkins in the 78 involved in some on-track scuffles, so to speak. Not necessarily all Mike's fault, but we kid because we care. We got to get you all the TV time that we can. What's going on? What's going through your head? 250 laps here at Oxford Plains, longest race of the NEP schedule. What have you got to do to physically and mentally prepare to this thing?
I probably should have got a better night's sleep and not be hungover, number one. Number two, it's about 40 degrees in my basement. I got a little heater going right now, and I'm freezing. So, other than that, I can't believe that I'm on here for 250 laps, but terrible qualifying effort as usual because I absolutely hate this place. I'm just going to try and keep it in one piece.
And that is going to be the name of the game here this afternoon. And some of the drivers sweating, some of the drivers cold. Zane, I talked to you before the race. You're already sweating, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're dripping already.
Big time drip out of the 14 camp. And Zane, same question, man. What have you got to do? What have you got to do to win the 250 lapper here? The first Grand National Greg's gift here, Oxford 250. Big fight field here in NEPs, longest race of the NEPs history.
I think to win this race, you got to be first at lap 250.
That is a very accurate assessment. Zane Farrell looked it up, so we didn't have to.
But seriously, though, it's going to be, I mean, you got to survive. There's going to be a lot of cars. Guys are going to get a lap down. This is the first race we've ever done over, like 70 laps, really. But it'll be fun. It'll be different. So we'll see what happens at the end if we make it there.
If we make it there. And wow, the broadcast booth door is always unlocked. So if you end up finding yourself down in pit road or in the garage area, feel free to come on up and bring beer because it's going to be a long afternoon. But getting ready for the 250 lapper. Final few moments here in qualifying. We're going to let these guys get back on down to their cars and get ready to rock and roll here this afternoon. And Tim, qualifying's all wrapped up. It looks like John Peters is going to start on the pole with Libby on the outside. Where have we heard that before?
Yeah, it's been a common theme over here at the NEP series, though Ryan Libby hasn't had the greatest of seasons over here. Yes, he does have one win, but currently 11th in the points, and usually that will indicate that, yes, while you're hot, but when those races don't go your way, they go off the rails. It's not a top 10 or whatever. It goes off the rails. 3 top 10 finishes. Or 5 Let's see if I can read the stats right this time, Paul.
It's not often we get up before noon here if it ain't TV, so you got to bear with us for at least the first 100 laps or so.
Yeah, that's it. 3 top 5 finishes this season. So Ryan hasn't had the best of luck, but the field has just finishing up the session. About 30 seconds left before these drivers will hit the grid. Everybody put in a lap except for Mike Alexander, and we mentioned Ryan Messer's mishap on his qualifying laps. Is going to start them 25th and 26th, respectively. Everybody else is on the grid and are going to be on the grid and within about 0.6 of a second of each other in qualifying. So this is going to be a short, it's going to be a tight little field. for 250 laps, and it's official. Let's grid.
Getting ready to line these drivers up on pit road and on the racetrack. And there you can see line them up behind the iRacing pace car there on the front stretch. A couple of drivers going to be pitting from that back straightaway, a little bit of a curvy, bendy pit road there. That's going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into a lot of these drivers' afternoons, but they're going to make the best of it for sure. Going to take a look there at the grid for the very first running of the NEPs Oxford 250, brought to you by Racing for GNG. And the reigning, defending, two-time, back-to-back Shift Marketing and Design Grand Series champion John Peters in that 09 car going to start on the pole with a 15.868. Blistering fast lap time here in the Xfinity cars around the Oxford Plains Speedway. Ryan Libby going to start on the outside.
You got row number 2, Jason Ricker in the 9, and Evan Belvedere. 2 drivers from Maine, fittingly, going to start in P3, P4.
Right in behind him, you got the 07 and the 4. Kyle Salza going to start on the inside with Kenny Kibbe starting 6th.
Chalou is had an up-and-down season, but coming off of Talladega with a great finish. Charles Lewandowski 7th, and Cody LeBlanc driving for DJ Gerard in 8th.
Right in behind them, a pair of Island boys, Corey Casagrande and Zane Farrell, going to occupy row number 5.
The Sewell's Paving 26, and Brent Roy to the inside of the next row, just outside the top 10. And Dylan Kopech, who had to work his way through the Lord Spotting Services qualifying night, going to qualify in 12th.
Starting 13th, one of the 13 cars, Brandon Marhefka in the inside, and outside of him going to be the 44 of David Arute running for Scott McDonald in the 14th position.
Devin Marhefka going to start in behind Brandon in the 15th place starting position in the double 2, the double 9 to the outside. Homestead winner earlier this season, Stephen Dadio.
Couple more drivers from New England, Wyatt Alexander in the 96 starting on the inside there in 17th, and Matt Kenfield, the owner of Shift Marketing and Design, starting in 18th.
Row number 10 sees Ryan Salvatore to the inside in the 12, and Magnum Mike Hopkins, 78, going to qualify 20th as this field begins to roll.
The 117 car is going to give us the 21st position of Reagan Parent with Keith Lord from Lord Spotting Services in the 17, starting 22nd.
2 17s in the same row. How about it? Brandon Uhouse next row, and the 3 to the inside, and the Dave Dion throwback Jeffrey Brown to the outside in 24.
And a pair of bad, fast Canadians rounding out the field. Mike Alexander, Magic Mike Alexander in the 75, and Ryan Messer in the 1 car. Didn't quite get the qualifying effort that he wanted, but it's going to be a lot of fun to try and watch that car come up through the pack. And you can see everybody lined up 2 by 2. We're around this racetrack. We're getting ready to go racing for 250 laps around the virtual Oxford Plains for the inaugural GNG Grand National Greg Oxford 250. We've made mention many, many times this afternoon, this morning, throughout the pre-race show. Big fight feel here in the NEPs League. These drivers want to come home with the win here for the biggest race in NEPs history, and they want to honor our friend, Mr. Greg Peters, as we take the green flag with John Peters thundering away, taking away just a little bit. Couple of car lengths now over Libby in second.
This is where you really have to set into a rhythm. We saw it here last night with the prelude to the 250, where these drivers, especially in those super late models and here in these Xfinity cars, you really have to find your footing. This racetrack is not a 2-groove racetrack. It's a groove and a quarter, groove and a half at best, Paul. So you really need to find your spot in the line, work with those guys on the inside. Top 5 are single file. It's a side-by-side battle in for 6th, but a side-by-side for 10th, and then halfway through the pack, there's a couple more that are stuck on the outside line. But it's all about rhythm, it's all about momentum, and all about knowing who's on the inside of you right now to try to get into that groove.
Lots of thought process going on throughout this racetrack. 250 laps on the docket. We've already got 4 of them completed. John Peters out front, Ryan Libby in second, Jason Ricker in third, Evan Ballou in fourth, and Kyle Salza still the top 5. Charles Lewandowski moving on up to 6 with Kenny Kibbe right in behind him. Corey Casagrande moving up around Cody LeBlanc. Zane Farrell holding on to that 10th spot, and Brent Roy there in 11th on the outside of the top 10 looking in. And you can see here, Tim, conveyor belt racing action early on. These drivers just trying to get a feel for the racetrack, get a feel for the race car, and figure out what they've got to do to move themselves up towards the front, see if they can do battle with John Peters up in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Matt Kenfield found a spot in the line. I think that was the last car to try to get into line. The 76 is 21st, I believe, right now on the racetrack. Check that. Yeah, he is 21st. Mike Alexander did not answer the call to the green flag. That car is still sitting in the back straightaway. Ben, something must be amiss with that one. But you mentioned the conveyor belt style of racing here. Jeffrey Brown in the 29 is last on this field. He is already half a lap down to the leader, John Peters. And everybody's tucked up tight together. Mike Hopkins is going to be shuffled out of line by Ryan Messer. I believe that is Messer, moves to the inside and picks up one more spot after starting dead last on this field. So he's already up 6 positions. The next one on the list for Mr. Messer would be Reagan Parent and Ryan Salvatore. As they continue to work around here, we'll have 9 laps complete right here for the 09.
And if you're not familiar with the NEPs League, the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Group, you'll probably recognize a lot of these paint schemes. All these drivers somehow related to the short track racing scene, either in Canada, New England, lots of Jennerstown's faces. Zane Farrell in the 14-car races late models down there at the track. And you'll notice all these paint schemes here have some kind of connection with a super late model or some sort of paint scheme that they've either raced themselves or worked on, been a crew member on throughout the years. And it's always kind of neat to see the different super late model paint schemes that on these Xfinity race cars running these short tracks here, especially with Oxford Plains. The big history with the Oxford 250 starting all the way back in 1974, just ran the 48th running of that big race. And here we are, the very first Oxford 250 in NEPs history. John Peters leading all 13 laps here so far, but it's still a long racing afternoon here. Lots of time to try and get up towards the front. We got some pit stops that we're going to have to handle, and we'll see what goes on with the wrecking. So far, though, clean and green as we work lap number 14.
I think you really set yourself into the game plan to pick up positions when you can. Salvatore and Hopkins are side by side, and I believe DJ Gerard is out on the outside. As you saw Belvedere looking, but that's about all it was. This battle right here, Salvatore, and then that's the 96, I believe, of Wyatt Alexander to the inside of. I keep wanting to call it DJ Gerard. It's not DJ Gerard, it's Cody LeBlanc today, but stuck on the outside for a couple of moments, and that's usually how this racetrack races, Paul, especially in the sim, because that curb is going to get you. If you get on it, you get pushed up to the outside, you get a little sideways, and oh, by the way, you have to wait for the field to go by as Ryan Salvatore and the 78 of Mike Hopkins are going at it back here. Salvatore almost, and a couple of times here, he thought he was clear, gets to the inside, and then realizes he's not and has to make that quick move up back to the outside, and Mike Hopkins is letting him know that he's there.
And oh, by the way, they've got that Matt Kenfield machine, the number 76 there, trying to take a peek on the inside of both drivers, attempting to almost potentially think about making it 3 wide here at Oxford. Doesn't quite work, but we've seen some crazier things here on Verdane TV. And that curbing down around the bottom of the racetrack, Tim, we saw that come into play a couple of times last night with the Super Late Model Show, the TCM special event race that we had last night. Myself and Mike James from up on the rocks in the booth as Salvatore goes high, wide, and handsome. He's going to lose a couple of spots here as the freight train rolls on by down on the bottom here on lap 19. But these drivers keeping an eye all the way around the racetrack. There's not really an outside wall all the way around, but that curbing down on the bottom, you really got to keep an eye out for that for sure.
Yeah, it definitely upsets the handle of your race car, puts you up the racetrack, and puts you out of a couple of positions as Salvatore continues to drop the 44 David Arute to the inside, and Jeffrey Brown would be the next one in line, but he's got about 8 lengths back to that number 29. Nobody's fallen a lap down yet. 20 laps completed in this GNG's Gift Oxford 250 as we continue to work around. Top 2 have broken away. You see them there on your screen. Libby to the back bumper of the 09 of John Peters, but that's about all it is right now. Jason Ricker in third. He's got about a car length back to Belvedere and Kyle Souza in the top 5. You remember him making that daring move at the end of his qualifying race about a week and a half ago to get into this show, and now he's taking a look over that Hancock Lumber number 56.
So the top 5, the exact same from when we got started here. Peters, Libby, Ricker, Ballou, and Souza rounding out the top 5. Charles Lewandowski, Kenny Kibbe, Corey Casagrande, Zane Farrell, and Brent Roy now in the top 10 with Dylan Kopech running in the 11th spot. Everybody still on the lead lap here that has started the race, except for Mike Alexander, made mention, missed the call for the start of the race, so he's still parked down in the garage area, but we still got 25 drivers on the lead lap. Jeffrey Brown holding on to that 25th position right now. Biggest mover of the race going to be Ryan Messer in that number 1 car. Got a little bit squirrely there in his qualifying laps, started shotgun on the field, but he's gained 11 spots, running 15th.
Yeah, moving through the field and still has an opportunity to pick up a couple of positions here. He's got one right ahead of him and Stephen Daddio. Daddio, usually when we go to the mile and a half and go to those bigger racetracks, Paul, he is the one to really watch, and now he's going to lose one to Ryan Messer, and Messer's got a little ways to get up the road to catch up to the 96 of Wyatt Alexander and the Marhefkas, battling it out up there just ahead of him. Had a tough little go last night, was up in front in the TCM Special Events Prelude to the 250, and just got into the leader. Todd Cousins was sent to the back of the field and worked his way back up to a top 10 finish, but not the finish indicative of what he would have liked. But we have our first car going one lap down here. That is Jeffrey Brown, the 29 car, 28 laps into this race. It's going to fall one lap down to Peters and Libby as they come by to complete this lap.
And you can see that 29 car moving on up to the high side, letting those two drivers get on around. No fuss, no muss. And the 09 of Peters going to hold on to that lead. But that rearview mirror has the 46 car in it there in a big way. All over the back bumper is Ryan Libby. Wants to see if John Peters is going to make a mistake. A little bit too early here on lap number 30 to try and push the issue, but you can see definitely doing his homework at this point, trying to see what that 09 car is doing on track, trying to study, trying to do his homework, seeing what he needs to do here for the 250 lapper to try and get around John Peters. And oh, by the way, looking out front of the windshield there on the 09 car, you're going to see Ryan Salvatore in the number 12 car. That's the 24th place driver, with a couple of other drivers in there getting ready to go a lap down.
Yeah, David DeRoot, Mike Hopkins among them, and just ahead is Matt Kenfield. So the lap traffic going to start to get a little bit heavier here. On lap number 31 is the 09 goes to the inside of David DeRoot, tries to get to the inside. I think David went a little wide out there over in turn number 3 and didn't maybe anticipate the leader there. Ryan Salvatore going to be next up, and I don't want to jinx it, Paul. I don't want to say anything one way or the other, but this has the green flag feel to it. Corey Casagrande has not mentioned anything about competition yellow flags. I know they started this race, I believe, in this setup with 14 gallons of fuel, so should be about halfway. I think they can go on fuel, but tires going to be big as well, as John and a few others mentioned on the pre-race show, so keep that in mind as we work under the green.
And you can see John doing a phenomenal job at cutting through that lap traffic, but not gaining any time, not putting any distance between he and Libby. Ryan Libby in the 46 car. Safe Light Auto Machine all over the back bumper still. He's got a tow chain hooked up to the back bumper of that 09. They cut through the lap traffic like a hot knife through butter, and they keep their eyes set on the windshield on the racetrack. And you can see the 76 machine of Matt Kenfield, the next driver, under a fire for going a lap down here early on here in the Oxford 250, working lap number 37 as we cross the stripe. Still a bit of distance here to go, lots of time for these drivers to make a recovery, but how about it? You could see, you could barely put a piece of paper in between the 09 and the 46 car. Ryan Libby letting John Peters know that he is there.
Yeah, hot on the back bumper, hasn't made that move yet, and I don't think you really need to make that move, at least at this point in the race, and still plenty of laps to get it done. And now we're starting to see lap 38 getting closer to that 40 lap mark. Tires starting to go away on some of these cars in about the mid-pack. You're starting to see them slip and slide a little bit more as they come up on Matt Kenfield to put the 76 one lap down. And the handle on these race cars, especially in the mid-pack, starting to go away a little bit. There's Kyle Souza on the back bumper, the 56. That is the battle for position. Number 3 as they work around with the 9 of Jason Ricker, not too far behind in the Aircam Setup Shops entry.
Short track racing at its finest here. There you can see a good shot of Charles Lewandowski, currently running in the 6th spot. Zane Farrell right in behind him in the number 14 car. The black car's down at the shop, parked. It's got the tarp over it. We're going to run the white and pink car for the rest of the season, according to Zane Farrell this past Thursday night after the Talladega race, or during the Talladega race, when we talked to him last. And currently holding on to a top 10, 3 spots up from where he qualified, running in the 7th spot. He's got Kenny Kibbe all over the back bumper. There you see Brent Roy moving up just a little bit, and Wyatt Alexander breaking into the top 10. Ooh, Ryan Messer, a little bit of contact there with Corey Casagrande. We stay green, but a little bit of damage now to the passenger side on that 7CT car.
Corey Casagrande in that 7CT car got moved out of the way there by the one of Ryan Messer, and now he's got the Marhefkas then behind in the 17 of Reagan Parent trying to work their way through. But the 7CT, that's the product of Oxford Racing here on the sim, where you have to try to crowd the guy as low as you can, give him enough room to stay off of that curb on the inside, but just enough room to try to make the pass. And I think that damage is affecting Corey a little bit as Reagan goes to the inside.
And you can see trying to hold on there on the middle of the outside groove. The 22 of Marhefka now going to try and peek down low on the inside. Checks up just a little bit. He's got Dylan Kopech right in behind, giving him a little bit of a nudge there from the 16 car. And the 99 of Daddio back in there as well, running in the 16th spot. Brandon Marhefka on the other 13 car back there as well. So a couple of drivers mid-pack running through here. Ryan Messer up to 11th now, 15 spots from where he qualified, or where he didn't qualify there in the back of the pack. And still, for the most part, Tim, single file around the racetrack. Couple of 2x2 battles there. You can see that's going to be Ryan Messer getting around the 4 car there, gaining another position in that 1 car. So move Ryan Messer up to the top 10.
Yeah, Messer's doing work under green after missing the mark in qualifying. And just behind them, we have that change for position number 3. Souza has taken the spot away from Evan Belvedere. So Belvedere falls back 1 more spot in the 56. And now we'll see if Kyle saved anything, because that's the great thing about this Oxford racetrack. And we saw it with Peters and Libby, even though Libby's fallen back a little bit off of John Peters, with Souza having the advantage of clean air, besides the 12 of Salvatore ahead of him, but he's a lap car. I'm sure he'll give him a little bit of room. Can he run down, or how much can he run down those leaders? Oh, by the way, the leader right now is about a half track ahead of 3rd place. So the top 2 are gone from the rest of the field.
And you can see there on the left-hand side of your screen there on the Verdane TV scoring tower, Libby's about a second behind the leader, John Peters, in 2nd, and then it's another 7 seconds back to Souza in 3rd. And it's not to say that these drivers aren't up to par. John Peters, Ryan Libby really doing their homework here at Oxford, want to come home with the big victory here in the GNG, the inaugural GNG's Oxford 250. Longest race here of the NEPs schedule, longest race here in NEPs history, and we made mention, we keep using the term big fight feel here. Want to make sure that you come home with a victory. Want to do everything in your power to try and make the magic happen. And John Peters doing exactly that. 1.5 seconds now to lead over that 46 car, Ryan Libby.
Yeah, continuing to work around this racetrack, and the patience and the respect between these drivers here is definitely showing, especially 53 laps into a run. The driver that is on the move, though, as you ride on board down into corner number 1 with Brandon Uhouse, or check that John Peters getting ready to put a lap on Brandon Marhefka. Just put a lap on Brandon Uhouse. We mentioned Messer still being on the move, Paul, and he is on the back bumper of Wyatt Alexander, who's on the back bumper of Brent Roy, who's on the back bumper of Chalou, who's on the back bumper of Jason Ricker, who's just barely in touch with Zane Farrell. So that's top 5 territory for Ryan Messer. He is flying through this field.
55 laps in the books, less than 200 to go here at Oxford. We say that like it's going to take us a quick 20 minutes to run those almost 200 laps, but you can see Salvatore moving on out of the way, letting the lead lap cars go down and around. Zane Farrell up 5 spots into the top 5 now in that 14 car. Ricker in behind him, Charles Lewandowski, and that whole crew that we just talked about here, Tim. So it's tight quarters racing around this Oxford Plains Raceways. Everybody's racing each other to try and hold on to the position they've got, but everybody in the lead lap looking in the rearview mirror to see if they're going to see that 09 car close on up into the back bumper.
Yeah, they've got a couple that are starting to move. Oh, Corey Casagrande is making John go the outside. Okay, so Casagrande pushing the 09 to the outside, and The second place car is stuck 5 cars back in this little train right here. Ryan Libby's in the middle of this heavy lap traffic just outside the top 10.
And you can see Peters finally able to get around the 7CT of Corey Casagrande, putting the 13th place driver 1 lap down. Kenny Kibbe, the next driver, in danger of going a lap down to the leader, John Peters. And you can see Ryan Libby still struggling to get through this lap traffic. Gets around the 99 car of Steve Daddio. Corey LeBlanc going to get on down and around 4th position, move him up to 17th. But Libby struggling to get through this lap traffic just a little bit. Still 3 or 4 cars in between he and the leader, John Peters.
And the next one on Peter's list is Kenny Kibbe, which is about 2.5 seconds or so ahead. And these passes are going to continue to get tougher as the leaders work through the pack. But Mike Hopkins about to go a second lap down to the 09 of John Peters, directly ahead of the leader. That is your 24th place car, and that would be the second car to go 1 lap behind the leader. And a little bit of damage to the rear end of that 78 car. Not much, just a little bit of a wrinkle, but Hopkins will fall in the line and see if he can chase down the 09.
May very well have gotten that damage in the old Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru earlier on here tonight. Early start here for the NEPs schedules, or the NEPs series rather. Sunday afternoon racing. It's NEPs night in the afternoon. Really looking forward to getting all the action here at Oxford Plains into your living rooms, your bedrooms, wherever you may be watching us at home. And we want to thank you again for tuning in on this Sunday afternoon for the inaugural GNG's Gift Oxford 250 with the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Group Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. And we've made mention to him, long race, big fight feel. Points racing, very important here as well. John Peters, the points leader, coming into the event by 13 points over the 56 of Baloo, who's back there in 4th place. Zane Farrell up in the top 5 in points as well as Brent Roy in the 26 car, who's moved himself up into the 6th position after gaining 5 spots from where he qualified that number 26 car. So everybody wanting to come home with a victory here for the big race of the season, the biggest race of the season here. But everybody kind of keeping track of the points as well, making sure that they've got big picture racing in the back of their minds for sure.
And just a small footnote, if you like what you see here this evening, we are back racing on Thursday night for the Shift Marketing Design Grand National Series. It is the Marhefka Motorsports Throwback 100 at Hickory Motor Speedway. So 4 days-ish away on Thursday, and a couple of Thursdays coming up here in the next month or so. And the short tracks are back, at least for the next 2 weeks, today and next Thursday, Paul, because then we go road racing at Montreal. We've got Atlanta coming up. We've got Loudon. So we've got a mix of different racetracks to run here in the next little bit. The one battle that's starting to heat up besides this one here for position number 4, and it's not necessarily heating up, but it's getting interesting. Kyle Souza has caught the back of this long train of cars, and I think Ryan Libby knows that. Little shot to the shorts to Mike Hopkins, telling him he's got to get going, because Souza is now, it's easy to say for us, 6 cars behind the 46, but he's closed in the gap compared to what Ryan Libby has been able to close in the gap. Peters continues to pull away. I think Souza is in the same zip code, per se, lap time as John Peters. It's just a matter of where they catch lap traffic.
And you can see heavy lap traffic for the 4 car. It's going to be the 07 on the timing and scoring, but the 4 car on your screen there. And you can see these drivers fighting for position, trying to hold on to it. They are, in fact, a lap down to the leader, John Peters. You can see the 9 car of Ricker going a lap down as well after running up in the top 3 earlier on, or the top 5 rather, earlier on this afternoon. But John Peters really picking up the laps, putting them back down here. Led all 73 laps here so far this afternoon. Ryan Libby holding on to that 2nd spot, trying to cut through that lap traffic. Looks like got most of it out of the way. A couple more cars here. You can see the 13 right in front, and Kyle Souza still trying to get around that 99 car of Daddio.
And Evan Belvedere is about to go a lap down to John Peters, and I'm trying to find where he would have lost all that time. Zane Farrell might have given him a little shot in the shorts on lap 65, which was 10 laps ago, but I didn't think it would put him that far back, but it has, because the 56 has gone 1 lap down, as you see Zane Farrell, and I believe that's Corey Casagrande. Corey's fallen back a lot, too, since that little contact with Ryan Messer. Casa Grande back to 20th.
And you can see everybody lined up nose to tail there on the bottom side. Ooh, Zane Farrell around sideways, going to try and hold on to it. He's not. He's going to go on down the pit road. That's going to bring out the very first caution flag here of the afternoon. And you got to figure that's going to give us feeding time at the zoo down there on pit road. But that's also going to give us an opportunity to pull up the U-House Racing Designs instant replay for the first time this afternoon.
And we'll see what happened here. And Paul, I think we're going to see that product of Oxford Plains Speedway come into effect here.
Yeah, you can see focusing on that 14 car, Brent Roy right in behind him in the 26, and you can see there is that apron, that little bump down on the bottom side, the speed bump, gets up in it, upsets the car, and there's just nowhere for the 26 car of Brent Roy to go, and down and around for the 14 car, no damage. So that's good news there. And taking a peek now, things are getting lively down on pit road, Tim. Looks like we've got some takers coming down to get some, calamity between the 4 and the 09 car, making contact off of pit road. A couple of drivers staying out here, but man, oh man, that's going to shake things up in a big way.
Yeah, and Kyle Sousa went down the wrong pit lane. He's pitted on the front. He went down in the back. So didn't get service to that race car. John Peters and Ryan Libby got service to their race cars. They are down and away. Everybody else coming down into pit road once they caught the pace car. So that will technically hand the lead over to Kyle Sousa because he hasn't come down pit road yet, but one would assume he's coming down right here.
And you can see just how confusing that pit road entry is for all these drivers here in the simulator and in real life here in Oxford Plains as well. Some of the drivers coming down that front straightaway pit lane, but there's also the back straightaway as well. The backstretch pit road that's a little bit squirrely, kind of swerves back and forth, a little bit of an S curve in there, and waiting for timing and scoring to kind of get updated here as everybody gets on around the track. A couple of drivers being stopped there on pit road, at the exit of pit road there to let the field on by. And I believe, Tim, John Peters is going to cycle on through with the lead, Ryan Libby in second. And if everything sorts itself out right, we're going to have ourselves 10 drivers on the lead lap. And how about that new third place driver, Ryan Messer, in the 1 car. Not sure if he came down pit road yet, but up 23 spots so far for the 1 car.
Yeah, I believe everybody was down on pit road one way, shape, or form on that one. We got a couple of wave arounds here, so we'll extend the caution 1 more lap. But Peters and the 46 of Libby were able to get onto pit road cleanly. We mentioned the Kyle Sousa pit entry to the back when he should have been on the front. And it's easy. For those that are accustomed to the sim, it's like South Boston or Bristol or one of those pit lanes where it's really no different, Paul, where you have X amount of pit stalls in the front and X amount of pit stalls in the back, as we'll turn the lights back on the caution car. This one here, I believe, I'd have to count, I think it's 18 that are on the front, which with a 26 car field would put the rest of the drivers on that back pit. Kyle Sousa, that's where, and sometimes it's the mental game that gets you, Paul. Kyle qualified 5th. So it wasn't in that, I qualified middle of the pack, where's my pit box? Kyle qualified in the front straightaway, so that just a mental mishap, and he'll have to restart. He'll still restart within the top 10, but he'll restart in position number 5, which I believe we are not going to go this time. We'll go 1 more lap before we send these guys off.
Getting things sorted out here at the virtual Oxford Plains Speedway. Interesting dynamic on pit road with the 2 separate pit lanes on the front stretch and the back stretch here at Oxford, and you can see it's kind of thrown a monkey wrench into some of the plans, and that was under caution. Imagine if we have some green flag pit stops here later on tonight. I don't believe these drivers have enough fuel to make it to the end of this one, so I don't think we're done pitting here for the rest of the afternoon, but we will see. And it's looking like the iRacing pace car are going to shut those lights off and dip on down to pit road potentially here to let these drivers loose, hitting that dirt barrel. And there you can see John Peters with the restart, Libby in second, Ryan Messer in third.
So we saw the first start of this race. It was fairly calm, fairly cool, and a lot of, I said patience and respect earlier, that's eventually going to wear thin and wear down, but so far so good. Top 4 have broken away. Brent Roy, I believe that is on the outside, trying to let 1 more in and trying to find a spot in the line. He may be able to get in right here, but nevertheless, top 6 now, single file, that outside line thinning out, and these drivers may be trying to get into a rhythm like they did for the first 80 laps of this one.
26 car able to slide on in front of Ricker. Ricker losing the back end of the race car, going down and around in the number 9 car. Going to bring out caution flag number 2. David Arute hard on the binders in the Scott McDonald number 44 ride, but caution flag going to fly once again here. Gives us another opportunity to take a peek at the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. And got to give a shout out to U-House Racing Designs. Thank them for jumping on board here with the network, with Vidane TV, to sponsor that instant replay. And check them out on Facebook, facebook.com/UHouse Racing Designs. Lots of iRacing paint schemes, button boxes, all sorts of cool nifty tricks for the iRacers by iRacers, and lots of cool hardware as well. So definitely check that out. We're going to check out the instant replay, focus in on that 9 car of Ricker. You can see all over the back bumper of the 26 of Brent Roy. Gets up to him, backs up just a little bit, and you can just see loses the back end of the race car. No contact until after the fact. Actually does a really good job getting the tires spun around. There's the Scott McDonald ride driven by David Arute in the 44 car. Gets everything stopped. Mike Hopkins avoiding calamity there in the 78 as well. And you can see the 9 car able to drive down and away. So no harm, no foul, but bringing out caution flag number 2 here on lap number 90.
Should be a quicker caution compared to the first one, where a couple of guys coming down to the pit road to get service. The 78 is leaving pit road. The Ryan Salvatore machine is also coming into his box. But for the most part, we heard off the top of the show 3 sets of tires, 4 total. So 1 on the car, 3 in the pits. And they do have that one quick repair, as they usually do during the Shift Marketing Design Grand National races. So plenty of tires in the pits, plenty of quick repairs. As long as you can keep the car underneath you and keep the panels on the race car, you should be okay this evening. As we get one getting the free pass. I believe that may be Chalou trying to get the free pass on the outside, or that might be somebody else there was working on the outside to get that free pass. But nevertheless, we're getting ready to go back to green next time by, showing 10 on the lead lap, Paul, and they will double up here.
Lights off in the iRacing pace car, lining them up 2 by 2 all the way through. Libby and Peters going to be the front row. Sousa and Messer in the second row. Brent Roy holding on to a top 5. Currently, Reagan Parent, Zane Farrell, David Arute, Brandon Uhouse, and Kenny Kibbe. The 10 drivers on the lead lap. Charles Lewandowski in the 01 car, the first car, 1 lap down. And John Peters, Ryan Libby really setting a blistering pace here at Oxford Plains, working lap number 92, getting ready to take the restart here after the second caution. And you're going to be able to see that iRacing pace car jump on down to pit road, grab an ice-cold Coke and a corn dog, and we're going to watch some more green flag racing here with the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series here, the inaugural GNG's Gift Oxford 250, and getting close to the 100-lap mark here, working lap number 93.
Pace car will peel off. We're back to green flag racing. Keep your eye on Ryan Messer on this restart, and he goes to the inside already. He'll be in position number 2 as Libby stuck up to the outside, because that Reagan Parent, I believe that is, right in behind you, right on board with Ryan Messer. Trying to chase down John Peters might be the biggest challenge so far that John Peters has had. Check that Kyle Souza in behind. He'll take 3rd, and in behind Libby and Brent Roy, having a great run so far, up to a top 5 run. Is outside the top 5, just around the top 10. They try to figure stuff out. I believe that might be Kopech to the inside, trying to pick up a spot or 2.
Different storylines all the way around the racetrack. 10 drivers on the lead lap, but there's still 25 drivers out on track fighting for positions. Whether doesn't matter which lap they're on, they're still fighting for those positions, as we're just a couple of laps away from the 100-lap marker. And look at this hornet's nest back about mid-pack. Lots of different drivers trickled on in here, and different laps, different storylines all the way around the racetrack. And Matt Kenfield, Corey Casagrande, looks like they got themselves in a little bit of trouble here. Caution flag going to fly once again.
So the caution flag will fly for the drivers in turn at number 3-4, and we'll back it up and show you the U-House Racing Designs instant replay as we will cross the 100-lap mark under this yellow flag, 3rd of the afternoon. And did Corey get in there a little hot, or was the 76 on the bank there, Paul? What happened?
A little from column A, little from column B. You can see hard racing between the 76 and the 96 rather. Making a little bit of contact there. The 76 checks up just a skosh, and the 7CT of Corey Casagrande in to the back quarter panel, sending that car on around, bringing us out. Caution flag at number 3 on the afternoon. A little bit of damage to that 7CT car now as he goes around the racetrack here. Currently scored way back in 22nd after a top 10 qualifying effort for the 7CT. Zane Farrell going to give up a top 10. He's going to come down on pit road to get some service to that machine, but it's still John Peters up front, new second place driver. How about it? Ryan Messer up 24 spots from the back of the pack up to the front row here in 100 laps, 150 laps to go here at Oxford Plains.
Brandon Marhefka gets a free pass. He'll be back on the lead lap. That'll put us at 11 on the lead lap. Now we're going to have to wait and see what happens with the restart. Ryan Messer was able to take second on that restart, but he started on the inside of row number 2. Kyle Souza going to be able to do that now after losing those spots on pit road. Paul, I believe Kyle Souza's car on the long run is on par with what Ryan Messer and John Peters have. Ryan Libby, really good on the short run. We saw that on the opening stage of this race, the opening green flag run, where he was able to keep with John Peters, but wasn't able to really solve them. But he's good on the short runs. Keep that in mind once we get to lap 225 or so, if that 46 finds himself in the back bumper of the 09. If we get another green flag run here, which we should, we still got plenty of laps left to go, just under 150 laps remaining. We'll see what Peters has, see what Messer has, and see what Souza has, because I think the 3 best long run cars are going to line up 1, 2, 3 on this restart.
Want to thank everybody again for tuning in here this afternoon, Sunday afternoon racing here on Verdane TV, live on Facebook, on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Give us a like, a subscribe, a share. We try to be as interactive as we can with the chat, so let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting for, and which driver you think is going to come home with the victory here at Oxford, the inaugural GNG's Gift Oxford 250. Pace car down and away, and as is Peters. Green flag out once again, lap number 104 racing at Oxford.
And that start, one around in turn number 2. That might be Dylan Kopak. Yellow flag will fly, and Jeffrey Brown gets on the binders to not get in to the spinning race car. But that will bring us out one more caution flag here this afternoon. And we'll go back with the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. And Kopak goes for a spin cycle.
So a long green flag run to start the afternoon, and a couple of cautions here kind of peppered on in. And there you can see a little bit of contact in between Zane Farrell and the driver next to him. Kopak tries to get on the binders, slows up just a little bit, gets a little tap from the back, and keeps it pointed in the right direction. But you can see he kind of crimples up the nose of the number 16 car, the Hams welding machine. He's going to hold on to the spot back in 22nd. Looks like Corey Casagrande was able to get around him for the 21st position, but struggling just a little bit here. Not quite halfway here at Oxford. John Peters still holding on to that lead.
Now, usually on a wreck like that, it looks like Keith Lord is going to get the free pass. We would usually say that Dylan Kopak is probably going to be hard for Gerard after that one, but we can't say that today because DJ Gerard is not here. I'm sure he's watching on Verdane TV, but Cody LeBlanc, I believe that might have been the car on the inside that might have tried to get a little more room than what was warranted down into corner number 1, but nevertheless, they will continue to run around here under the caution flag. Both of those cars were 1 lap down already, so that'll shift that lineup outside the top 12, who are now back on the lead lap.
It's 12 cars on the lead lap, and that's one of the things that these drivers are liking about these caution flags, getting a couple of drivers the opportunity to get back on the lead lap and fight for the win here at Oxford in the big 250 lapper here, getting closer and closer to halfway, really picking up laps and putting them down here with the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Shift Marketing Design Grand National Series. And we made mention again, this is a points-paying race, so everybody wanting to come home with the victory, the biggest race of the season, the biggest race in NEPs history. but also trying to race with big picture implications in mind as they want to try and come home with a good points night, with a victory here. And the 09 car of John Peters trying to do just that. One of the first repeat winners here in Season 3, was able to pick up a couple of wins here and defending his back-to-back championships in that 09 car. But how about the start for Ryan Messer? Going to have to give up just a little bit, and then they're side-by-side. John Peters, though, going to get the whole shot. Second and third place, side-by-side, wrecking for second.
That is the get what you can on every restart, as Messer going to run Sousa almost out of racing room down into turn number 3. Wasn't too happy about that, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, it comes down to restarts, and I know we've seen it on the TCM side where you have to control and police those restarts. Ryan got a little bit we're wrecking in the back, and Mike Hopkins is involved. Mark that off your bingo card. He got a little throttle happy on that restart, and that they're going to try it all over again, albeit those two that had that little set two are going to be in the middle of the pack. As we'll queue up the instant replay and see what happened. I can tell you, Paul, that Mike Hopkins was not the cause of it, but he did get a piece of it.
And that seems to be the story of, well, the season here for the 78 car, and we brought it up at the pre-race show, and we kid because we care. Mike Hopkins, good friend here at AIM TV and NEPs, and take a look. U-House Racing Design instant replay. Got to take a look at this one from the blimp because there's a lot of madness going on there. It's a contact between Baloo and the 56 and the 01 car. Ricker gets a piece of it as well. There you see Hopkins getting a little piece of the back bumper and the side of the number 9 car going down to the beach, and then he's going to spin around, losing traction on the back wheels. Almost gets T-boned by that 56 car, but hard right-hand turn for the 56, avoiding calamity with that 78 driver. So one more driver going to get the free pass here and going to give them an opportunity to race for the lead and for the victory here at Oxford. But man, oh man, calamity here mid-race through, working lap number 114. It looks like we're going to restart with 13 cars on the lead lap. I believe the 99 of Daddio is going to get the free pass.
While we have a moment, Paul, can we go back on the U-House Racing Designs instant replay and take a look at that restart? We got a couple more laps here. The 1 of Messer, the 4 of Susan, nearly bought the farm on that one, going up the hill and back to it was the restart here, Paul, but it was also turn number 3 where I think Ryan gave a little bit of expressed a little displeasure to the 4 of Sousa after that happened, but it starts right here on this this replay. The 1 of Ryan Messer is going to try to anticipate the 09 of John Peters to go. Peters controls this restart, and there's Messer going. Peters doesn't go. Then Peters does go. Sousa has a hole, says, hey, I'm going, and gets a little sideways, pushes Messer up the hill, and they have a little rendezvous, and then they're going to go down here into turn number 3. Messer's going to get back to the inside as the rest of the field goes by. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming. See you later. And they continue on. But we're getting ready to go back to green, so we'll see if this restarts any better. And I say that John Peters is gone. Green flag flies. We are back underway, and maybe he learned a thing or two with that last one.
He's seen a thing or two, and he's learned a thing or two, and he is out front by about a half a second over Parent. Reagan Parent, the 17 car, the new second-place driver. Ryan Libby in third. Caution flag going to fly one more time. Jeffrey Brown pointed in the wrong direction, it looks like. Caution flag at number 6 here in the afternoon.
Yeah, we had somebody way out in the rhubarb over there in turn number 3. Apparently either had a little help or forgot there was a corner there, and it was David Arute in the 44 Scott McDonald car that went around. I think Jeffrey Brown was an innocent bystander, but 44 all by himself over to visit the Sun Journal leaderboard over in corner number 3. Paul, let's see it.
Yeah, the U-House Racing Designs instant replay, and there you can see the 44 car trying to follow that arrow, pointed in a straight line, and there you can see now it's pointed out at the crowd there, going down to the beach, hitting the dirt. Not sure what else is going on over there. Maybe he dropped a quarter or something. You know what it is? He's looking for a big TV screen like they've got at Stafford Motor Speedway now in the infield. I bet that's what it is.
Yeah, something like that. Trying to go see if he's on that leaderboard over there in turn number 3, but quickie caution. The field is doubled up and already back. Looking towards the green flag, we now have Reagan Perrin on the outside of John Peters, and Ryan Libby, Brent Roy, Brandon U-House after being a lap down earlier, and Zane barrel your top 6 as we get ready to go green. Usually we see pit stops playing a little bit of the shuffling in the lineup, but a couple of these restarts, a couple of drivers out of line, and we got some new faces up here. Green flag flies, great start for the top 2, and as I say that, Reagan Parent gets sideways and now has the hole occupied to the inside.
Holding on to a good piece of heads up, driving by driver number 17. Oh no.
12 car around in turn number 2. We're staying green for it, though. Salvatore was pointed in the wrong direction. Somehow, we're still green.
Going down to the beach, taking a look at that big TV screen that's not actually there, but there you can see John Peters out front by a half a second over Ryan Libby, the tail that we talked about earlier on here tonight. The cream are rising to the top, and 2 of the quickest drivers on top of this field here at Oxford as we are 2 laps away from that halfway marker. Brent Roy in second, Reagan Perrin dropping on back to 4th, Andy Uhouse in the number 3 car rounding out the top 5. Kippy Messer, Souza, Farrell, and Marhefka the top 10. Taking a peek now, looks like 14 cars on the lead lap. Steve Daddio in the number 99 currently scored in that 14 spot. Again.
Messer around in turn number 1 and 2, and he had a little bit of help to go around. Yellow flag will fly one more time, and we'll queue up the instant replay. And I can tell you, Paul, I was looking from the upstairs view, and might have had a little help. It might have had a little help from somebody from behind him. Is that the 4 car?
In the wrestling world, we call that a receipt. A little bit of extracurricular activities between the 4 and the 1. I got to guarantee that the race officials probably going to slap both of these drivers on the wrist and let everybody know that we aren't going to be doing any of that here at Oxford in the NEPs League. But not a big contact. A little bit of a letting them know how you doing there. As Reagan Parent going to come down pit road. Keith Lord in the 17 car going to come down as well. Looks like everybody else going to stay on track. And taking a peek, looks like Chalu in the 01 car going to be the free pass car. Going to be back on the lead lap in that 01.
And for those that are keeping score, that is the 3rd piece of contact in between those 2 drivers in the last 2 cautions, so 15 laps or so, Paul. So Messer is going to be at the back. Kyle Souza has been shown the rear by race officials, so they will both be at the same point, the back of the field, when we go back to green. So we will keep our eye on the leaders up in front with John Peters and Ryan Libby now back to second, but I'll keep my half eye on the back of that pack too and see if anything comes from that.
Lots of different storylines developing throughout the afternoon here. Just a couple of laps past halfway. Thank you again for tuning in this afternoon. A little Sunday afternoon racing here on Bedane TV, the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series here at Oxford Plains for the inaugural GNG's Gift Oxford 250. Shout out to Garrett Lamb for winning the inaugural Grand National Greg's Gift sponsorship for the very first year. Going to be fun to watch him throughout the 2022 racing season with that sponsorship. It'll be fun to see and follow along throughout the year. You'll be able to get that all the updates over on John Peters Motorsports Racing Facebook page, as well as Bedane TV. We like to try and keep all the information out at the fingertips there. So give us a like, subscribe, and a share over on the Facebook, on the YouTube, on the Twitter. And if you're over on Twitter, be sure to follow these guys on the old Twitter box at NEP iRacing. Lots of trash talking throughout the drivers all week long before race night, and it's put up or shut up time this afternoon. Getting racing, green flag racing once again as we cross the stripe for lap number 130. John Peters pulling away just a little bit from Ryan Libby, about a car length, maybe 2 over the 46 car in second.
The top 3 get single file back to 5th. One finds a spot in the line, and for the most part, everybody up front playing kind of cordial and casual throughout as they continue to find a spot from about 6th on back where they want to run and where they want to start picking up some green flag laps onto this one as they dive it down into corner number 4. Peters will come back up with the lead top 2. Little, but a car length advantage back to position number 3 of Brent Roy and the rest of the field.
Mid-pack on back, a little bit of a hornet's nest. Lots of these drivers trying to fight for position. Some of the drivers trying to get in the position to be the first car 1 lap down. First car right now going to be the 96 and the 22. The first 2 cars 1 lap down. A little bit of contact to the back bumper of Daddio. The 99 car is down and around. We stay green. 99 able to get it pointed back up. Everybody trying to get around him. There you see Chalu on the outside. Matt Kenfield down on the inside in the 76 car, making it 3 wide. They think a little bit better of it. The 01 tucks in behind Daddy-O. They figure it all out. They sort it all out. We're still green here on lap 134 here at Oxford. But, man, Tim, business is picking up. These guys know we're on the second half. It's time to crank up that wick and get going. Got to get up and see if they can get around the 09 and the 46.
You've got to start positioning yourself, but Paul, keep in mind we still have a 110 laps to go-ish, 115 laps to go in this race. So you got another set of tires. You're going to come down pit road again. Position yourself, but not take yourself out of the game. You got one quick repair, but you don't want to fall back to 15th place if you're on the lead lap to take that quick repair this afternoon as John Peters continues to lead Ryan Libby little ways back to Brent Roy. And we mentioned Kenny Kimmy going a lap down at one point under that first green flag run. He's now back to position number 4 with Brandon Uhouse, another one of those drivers that was a lap down almost at one point in 5th.
A little bit of a shake-up there in the second half of the top 5. Peters and Libby up front, Roy in 3rd, Kibbe and Uhouse the top 5, Marhefka, Farrell, LeBlanc, and Messer in the 9th position. David Arute in the 44 car just getting passed by a little side-by-side action as caution flag flies once again. See if we can take a peek here and find out why that is.
Salvatore ahead of the leader was slow on the access road, and I believe he might have had a little help with Matt Kentfield or involved with Matt Kenfield or something of the sort. It starts with the 76, so we'll queue up the instant replay and see what happened to send the 76 car around, and then the 12 getting into it last minute.
Yeah, after that incident there, that 12 car is squished. You can take a look there at the RSAL TV number 12 machine, and there is Matt Kenfield sideways on the track. We get our first jump of the afternoon. 12 car sticking the landing. We're going to see if we can pull up what went down with Matt Kenfield in the 76 to find him on track there as we back up the U-House Racing Design instant replay once again. And you can see he was trying to chase down the back bumper of Daddy-O in the 99 car, comes on down, gets out of the corner, and just loses the back end. You can see tries to lock everything up, and there's the contact with the 76 and the 12. So a big hit there, lots of damage to those cars. I don't believe either one of them have used their quick repairs just yet, but that's going to be something to keep an eye on, and we're going to have to keep an eye on that here as well. Caution flag flies on lap number 141, just about to the 100 to go marker. A couple handful of laps. John Peters still out front.
And the caution count starting to rack up, 8th caution of the afternoon as Salvatore comes off the pit road. I believe that was Daddy-O falling in behind the pace car, so that'll put us with 14 drivers on the lead lap in this event as they find their spots in the line. The top 5 or so have been kind of cordial. As Ryan Messer comes down into pit road from the back of the field, they've been kind of cordial getting into their spots, Paul, and finding a place to ride. It's the drivers in the mid-pack on back, and that's at the point where maybe your car is not handling right. Maybe you do have a little bit of damage to your race car. You're just trying to soldier on and get to lap 250 is where I think the last couple of cautions have transpired from as the field will double up behind the pace car, and we'll get ready to go back to green.
Kopech machine looking sharp here, getting a little bit excited a little bit early on. Cautions breed cautions, and things are getting spicy. I love it when the fans tune in on Facebook and YouTube because they give me all sorts of cool one-liners to use as we take the green flag here on lap 144. John Peters, a couple of car lengths now.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, again.
We got one around on the top of turn number 2, and that will draw the caution. And I think there was one that might have stopped up there but had no damage. Trying to find which one that was. How about Reagan Parent? In the 17, I believe, was one of them that may have had a little bit of the issue to go around. And he may have had a little help from somebody who has helped a couple already today. Paul?
Taking a look once again at the U-House Racing Design instant replay. There's the start, or the restart rather, the 4 and the 44 side by side. There's the contact between the 4 and the 17. 17 going to go down onto the beach there, get a little bit of dirt and dust all over that race car, but you can see no damage, no apparent damage no additional damage anyway to the 17 car, down and away, as is the 4 car, but just enough calamity there to bring out the caution here with still not quite 100 laps to go, 103 laps to go here under caution, the 9th caution here of the afternoon, and had a good long stretch, 85, almost 90 laps to start this race under green, all those laps being led by John Peters in the 09 car. Had ourselves a couple of quick cautions, couple of short runs here, and this is giving us an opportunity to get a couple more drivers on the lead lap. Looks like Alexander now going to be on the lead lap in that 96 car, giving us, I believe, 16 cars now on the lead lap. And again, you can follow along there on the left-hand side of your screen with the Dane TV scoring tower. Peters, Libby, Roy, Kibbe, and Uhouse, the top 5.
He was the free pass recipient, I thought, on the last caution. So looks like there's a couple of drivers trying to find their spot in the line here as we get the 2 to green to get back at this and roll one more time. Messer finds his spot in the line, as well as a couple of others ahead of the lap down cars. So we're showing Evan Belvedere 1 lap down, Devin Marhefka, Dylan Kopek, Jason Ricker, Stephen Daddio, Charles Lewandowski, Ryan Salvatore, all 1 back. Mike Hopkins and Matt Kenfield are 2 laps back, and Jeffrey Brown is 3 laps back. You said Mike Hopkins was at the Duncan earlier today. Maybe he's got too much left side weight on it. Maybe that's why he's 2 laps down.
Definitely a possibility, and again, we kid because we care. Magnum Mike Hopkins having a little bit of a struggle fest in that 78 car this afternoon. Currently being scored in 23rd. The first car 2 laps down, but one guy that's not 2 laps down, oh no, again.
We got 1 in the wall off the restart over here on turn 4. We're still green. I think he's going to back it up. Is that DJ Gerard's car? That might be the Cody LeBlanc entry right there.
That it is. Cody LeBlanc in the 13 car, subbing the 13 car for DJ Gerard. Currently scored in the 15th spot, and he's under fire now from the leader.
2 0-0s in 1 lap. We got 2 around in turn number 1. That is going to be the yellow flag. So that will slow the field down. And Mr. Arute and Mr. Belvedere. Is that Belvedere?
That is Belvedere in the 56 car. Well, what's left of the 56 car? Lots of sheet metal missing from that that number 56 car. We're going to take a peek here at the U.S. Racing Design Instant Replay and focus in here on the 44 and the 56. Ryan Messer up in there as well. Messer actually going to get into the 44 car just a little bit. A couple of drivers going for the same piece of real estate. Messer says, excuse me, coming through. 56 tries to do the same thing. 44 car goes around. David Arute pointed in the wrong direction, as is Belvedere in the 56 car. And you can see both drivers grabbing a gear, getting those cars pointed in the right direction, and they're going to rejoin at the tail end of the field. And we're going to get one more driver back here on the lead lap, so that's going to be one of the things that a lot of these guys are going to try and focus in on. Cody LeBlanc going to be on the lead lap here. Looks like Jason Ricker potentially going to get the free pass. There you can see him down and around the field here, so that's going to give us 16 cars now on the lead lap behind our leader, John Peters.
Now, I do know that Corey Casagrande came across the all teams channel or the radio communication during that caution. I didn't catch all of it, Paul, but the last thing that I heard was stop running over each other. So I think that it's starting to wear off a little bit because we ran 80 laps with no cautions. We've run the last 80 laps or close to 80 laps. We're getting to lap 160 with 10 cautions on the field. Don't want to start pointing people out, but there's a couple of cars that have caused a couple of cautions themselves in this stretch. But that's a part of short track racing, and especially here at Oxford, where it's a groove to a groove and a half. You've got to get everything that you can on a restart, so you're going to shove it into a hole that might not necessarily be there to try to pick up a spot and maybe shove somebody up the racetrack. It's just a product of what this racetrack provides. Oh, by the way, you mentioned that spicy word. These tempers are getting shorter, which means the attitudes get a little bit spicy, and it's my car, my lane, and I'm going to take it, and that's usually where that assertiveness comes in, and we're starting to see that out of some of these drivers. So let's hope that this is the restart that gives us a green flag run, and let's hope they are done running over each other for about 10th on back.
From what it sounds like is we need a quick little mid-race break, grab open an ice cold Truly, crack that thing open, and just remember that we're all friends here at the virtual racetrack. But the iRacing pace car going to dip on down. John Peters with another phenomenal restart. How about that 26 car on the outside of Libby, trying to make a little magic happen. Brent Roy in third, going to tuck back in line.
They are 2 and 3 wide in the middle of the pack, and Hopkins just sent somebody around off his front bumper into turn 3. And they are in the rhubarb, and there is no caution. We are going to continue to roll on. John Peters continues to lead this train around the racetrack, top 6-ish, single file, back to about Marhefka, who has a driving mate on his right-hand side.
That's going to be David Arute and the Scott McDonald number 44 machine down and around on the beach. We stay green, but David Arute in the 16th position, under threat now to go down a lap once again to the 09 car of John Peters. Has about 2-3 car lengths now over the 46 of Ryan Libby. Brent Roy up there in the 3rd position. He's under fire from the 4 car, who's all over the back bumper. Kenny Kibbe having a good go of it. And Zane Farrell in the 14 having a good quiet run up in the top 5, but he's got Ryan Messer now in the back bumper, in the rearview mirror in that number 1 car. Ryan Messer all the way to the back of the pack, up through the field twice now, because he started in the back, worked his way up to 2nd, had that little bit of an incident between he and the 44 car, had to go back to the back of the pack, and here he is in the top 5, almost in the top 5, trying to get around Zane Farrell for 5th.
Well, the good news is that when he went to the back of the pack or spun out, he was still a lead lap car, so he started in 10th, 11th, and now he's had the opportunity to work his way up to the back of Zane Farrell. In behind them, I believe Marhefka has a dancing partner in Kyle Souza, and then in behind Reagan Parent, going to go to the inside and a little more as they're going to buy the farm on the front, miss the light pole. Parent's in a bad place down here in turn number 1, but I think we're, oh no, there is the, there is the yellow flag. And after that, Marhefka kind of got pushed up the racetrack a little bit in turn 2. No harm, no foul, but they went 3 wide trying to avoid it, and it could have been more of a mess. But here is the caution that brings us to U-House Racing Designs Instant Replay.
And there you can see the 17 peeking on down on the inside, hitting that curb, running out of real estate. And there you can see the 13 and 17 not giving each other any room, trying to get that same piece of real estate. And, well, just like in real life here in the simulator, you can't have 2 objects occupying the same piece of real estate because that's not physically possible. But 17 and Reagan Parent going to have to restart here towards the back of the pack after getting spun around there, or spinning around, pointing that thing in the wrong direction. And you can see just a little bit of sheet metal damage there on the back of the car. Actually, all 4 corners have just a little bit of damage. Couple of drivers coming down pit road. David Arute in the 44, as well as Jason Ricker in the 9 machine. Going to get some service to those machines. And it's still John Peters, Ryan Libby, Brent Roy, the top 3. Kenny Kibbe, Zane Farrell, the top 5.
As the field sorts out and finds out where they need to be for this restart, we're in the under 100 lap to go mark in this one. So now that sense of urgency that I talked about a little bit earlier, put yourself in a position to try to win this thing, it keeps getting ramped up a little bit. So for Kyle Souza and for Ryan Messer, who are fighting their way through the field, oh, by the way, they'll start nose to tail on the outside of rows 3 and 4 respectively. Keep your eye on them, but for them, they need to get back up to the front of the field. For John Peters, this is easy. John is led since we dropped the green flag. He controls this thing, and Ryan Libby, Brent Roy, I think, are just pacing themselves right now, trying to get to that 50 to go mark, which we still have plenty of laps to get there, to really make that move to put themselves in a position to win this GNG's Gift Oxford 250.
Getting down to the nitty-gritty, and with these caution flags, going to give more and more drivers here the opportunity to get back on the lead lap. The 44 car of David Arute, the last car on the lead lap, subbing here this afternoon for Scott McDonald in that ride. Check that, Dylan Kopech going to get the free pass. He's going to be the 17th driver on the lead lap. Everybody lined up 2 by 2 by 2, all the way through, getting ready for a restart. John Peters, Ryan Libby, Brent Roy, Kenny Kibbe, and Zane Farrell, the top 5. There goes the pace car. One more again, restart. Taking a peek there. Libby trying to make it go a little bit early on the outside line. Thinks better of it. John Peters to the point.
And now we'll see who slots in where in the line. Messer trying to work that outside line around, I believe that might be Zane Farrell back there as they continue to work around. 2 to the outside, and they continue to try to find their spot in the line. Easier said than done, but for the most part, Paul, I think we found a rhythm here 2 laps in.
Pair of 4 cars nose to tail here for the top 5 position. They're in 5th. Souza and Kenny Kibbe both in 4 cars, trying to get themselves up towards the front. There you see Zane Farrell still holding on to that top 5 spot.
Keith Lord gave a shot to Brandon Marhefka down in the corner ball, and I thought he was going to end up in the rhubarb down in turn number 2. Keith Lord muscles his way past and gets one more spot.
Yeah, the 17 and 13 bringing out a caution just a few laps to go, and you can see they're still side-by-side racing hard here on lap number 172. Still a little ways to go in this one, but man, the action's starting to pick up all the way around. Things are getting spicy all the way around the racetrack, and we're trying to follow along with all the different storylines happening here on track, but man, oh man, the storyline that we're focusing on right now is John Peters holding on to the lead right now with Libby in second, Brent Roy still holding on to third, Farrell and Souza the top 5.
There's your battle for the lead as Libby tries to get to John Peters. I've been kind of watching the little battle too between Uhouse, Messer, Casagrande, and the rest of this field. Wyatt Alexander, little sideways there, still maintains it going straight. Keith Lord.
Whoops, sideways again.
There goes, yeah, the 96 is all kinds of at a sorts here. Trying to get back into line, but tough break for Wyatt Alexander. Was battling up there with those guys inside the top 10, and now he's got some work to do. But can we give a call out to Keith Lord? I've said this a couple of laps ago, but he was instrumental in making that move work as well. He is up now to the top 10 and looking to make something happen in the 17 NH.
And there you can see the back bumper of that car is all sorts of caved in, and you can see he's got his sights set on the 7CT car. Wants in the top 10 now, wants to get up a little bit further on. You can see Ryan Messer now all over the back bumper of the 3 car of Uhouse. Going to see if he can get up and around 18 spots gained for Messer in the 1 car twice. Started in the back of the pack, worked his way all the way up to second, had to restart after mid-race caution or so. All the way in the back of the pack, raced his way all the way up to the front, and here he is, currently scored in the 7th position, right in behind a gaggle of cars right in front of him, the 4 car of Kenny Kibbe, the other 4 car of Souza, and Zane Farrell in this group as well. Brent Roy leading on in this group, holding on to the 3rd spot, and a little bit of a gap there between those top 2 drivers of Peters and Libby.
As a cloud rolls over the Oxford Plains Speedway, you mentioned those packs. That battle for 3rd is starting to get intense. Brent Roy in the 26 is holding on to the spot, but just barely, because Zane Farrell, Kyle Souza, Kenny Kibbe, Ryan Messer, Brandon Uhouse, all lined up in a train behind the number 26, trying to get by the Sewell's Paving number 26 Camry as they continue to work around, or Supra, and these Xfinity cars, they continue to work around here. There's a couple of packs throughout. You mentioned that. You mentioned, Corey Casagrande sideways at a turn 2. He gets into Regan Parent, and that will draw the yellow flag. And remember I said earlier that Keith Lord was charging hard through the field? Keith may have opened the door here to Corey Casagrande and what happened there to bring out the yellow.
Yeah, a little bit of a brawl fest between the 7 and the 17 here, and ends up bringing out the caution flag here at Oxford. And we're going to take a peek again here at the Uhouse Racing Design Instant Replay. There you see Corey Casagrande in the 7CT down on the bottom side, Keith Lord in the 17 NH. There's the initial contact. They get it sorted out. There's a little bit of a bump there from Lord. He shoots down and opens the door. The other 17 car comes in. Hard charging there, but he gets sent on around. Jason Ricker going to try and take a peek. Not quite, but that's going to bring out the caution flag once again, and that's going to give the opportunity for the 56 car. It's Evan Bollier in the 56 car, going to be the wave-around car, and we do have to make mention, we've said his name wrong a couple of times here, not necessarily on purpose. All these drivers here in the NEPs League have nicknames, and Belvedere is one of the nicknames that's been given to the 56 driver, but a lot of the nicknames that these drivers have, we can't actually say on air. So with the 56, Evan Bollier going to be back on the lead lap. That's going to give us 16 drivers here, Tim, on the lead lap.
And we did have the top 3 come down pit road, John Peters, Brent Roy, and Ryan Libby, which will hand the lead over to Zane Farrell in the 14. This is where the 250 strategy comes into play, because we're used to seeing this, middle of the pack, get a green flag run in the real 250, you get a half a dozen to a dozen drivers come down pit road, you get somebody staying out because they're on a different strategy tire-wise. That's what we get right here with Zane Farrell, Kyle Souza, Kenny Kibbe, Ryan Messer, the 3, Brandon Uhouse, the 17 of Keith Lord, the hard charger, the last couple of laps here, Jason Ricker, Wyatt Alexander, Dylan Kopech, Reagan Parent, your top 10, David Arute still hanging around in the lead lap, and then those drivers that came down pit road and the free pass car and what have you outside the top 10, top 11 as the field is doubled up. And we will get ready to go back to green with some new faces up in front. Zane Farrell on a short track trying to pick up a big win, and now we're going to go one more lap. So Zane's going to have one more lap led on the old stat sheet.
Count it. Count it, count it, count it. Ryan Salvatore going to put that stat right in the into the record book. Zane Farrell leading laps here at the Oxford 250, the inaugural GNG's Gift Oxford 250 for the NEPs League, New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. Big fight field here this afternoon, working lap 187, 88, 188 going to give us the restart here. A handful of cautions here from about middle of the race on, but we did have about a 90 lap green flag run to start this thing off, and great racing all afternoon long so far. Lots of storylines throughout the field, and there's a side-by-side restart between Zane Farrell and the 4-car of Souza, battling side-by-side, coming out of 2. They're still door-handle to door-handle.
Souza trying to take that outside line. We have one sideways in the middle of the pack. We stay green, but the top 4 tucked up tight together. Kenny Kibbe trying to make something happen, trying to occupy the inside of the other 4-car to the outside. One around on the front. We stay green for the time being as Zane Farrell gets away with the lead, and Kenny Kibbe goes to the inside of Kyle Souza.
Souza holding on to the outside. The other 4-car on the inside is going to be Kenny Kibbe. Ryan Messer in the 1-car is there as well. The 3 of Brandon Newhouse up in the top 5 for the first time this afternoon. Jason Ricker in the 9-car there as well, all over the back bumper of the 3-car. A little bit further on back, you can see Wyatt Alexander, after spinning just a few laps ago in that 96 car, up in the top 10, holding on to 7th. Dylan Kopech, Reagan Parent, and Keith Lord rounding out the top 10. An absolute brawl fest here from 5th on back.
And again, that outside line occupied by Ryan Messer. He's been there before, trying to find a spot in the line. He might be able to get in front of Alexander behind Jason Ricker. He's going to have that hold on the front straightaway and get in front of Alexander in that number 96 car as they continue to work around this Oxford Plains Speedway, getting closer to that 50 lap to go mark. And Zane Farrell, oh, hello, you house around in front of the field, collecting 2 or 3 cars. Yellow flag will fly.
That was a big hit up front, bringing out caution flag, unlucky number 13. And we're going to take a look here at the U-House Racing Designs instant replay and find out the calamity here that happened. And Ricker big time sideways, and we will pull up that YRD instant replay, find out exactly. Kind of saw it happen live there on screen, but now we're going to find out exactly what went down. And you can see here, focusing on that 9-car, closing on into the back bumper of U-House in the 3. Everything seems good in this corner, this set of corners. Waiting to see, there's the contact between the 3 cars around. I was looking in the wrong spot. We'll back that up one more time. Little bit of contact between the 3 and the 9. And you see the 3 gets sent on around. There's some hard contact between the 1 and the 9 car. A little 3 wide action back there trying to avoid calamity. But it looks like Ricker's going to be able to grab a gear and get going once again here, but just enough to bring out the caution flag.
That was one of those wrecks that if you're going to send me around, I'm going to take you with me. And that's exactly what U-House did after getting that little contact from behind from Ricker. I believe Chalou is going to be the free pass car. Is going to put Charles Lewandowski back on the lead lap in 17th place. So one more getting back on the lead lap. And when we go back to green, we should be just shy of the 50 lap to go mark. But the one thing that, I don't want to say surprised me, but that 14 car had something for those guys behind him on that restart, was able to get away from that battle for position number 2 and put a little bit of gap in between them. So we'll see if we do get a long green flag run, what happens there. And there's the kind of the tail of the tape. Farrell's been out here a little while on these tires.
Almost 100 laps there on that set of tires for Zane Farrell up front. Kenny Kibbe has 119 laps on that set of tires. And you can see differing strategies up there in the top 5. Alexander in the 96 car came down about 50 laps ago, 55 laps there for Messer. Kopech has been out for all 196 laps on that same set of tires, and he is still on the move, still trying to hold on to a top 10, trying to hold on to that track position. But that 16 car going to be needing some tires here shortly as we approach the 50 lap to go mark and the inaugural GNG's Gift 250 here at Oxford Plains.
Field comes by, and Field will double up in behind the pace car, and we will get ready to go back to green. They'll have Farrell lining up beside Kibbe, Souza, U-House, and the 96 of Wyatt Alexander, your top 5. Messer, Kopech, Parent, Lord, and LeBlanc, your top 10. Driving for DJ Gerard. Pace car appears to be pulling off this time. We'll be back to Green Flag Racing at the completion of 198.52. Laps to go in the GNG's Gift Oxford 250, and Farrell is gone. Green flag flies. Kibbe holding on to the outside.
Able to hold on to the back bumper, but there you can see Souza in the other 4 car down on the inside, trying to make a little magic happen, taking a peek down on the low side of Farrell in the 14 car, thinks better of it, tucks into the tire tracks a little bit further on back. You can see an absolute hornet's nest from middle pack on back. John Peters back in there as well in the 09 car. First time we've seen him outside of the top 10 in the 12th position outside of Brent Roy there in the 26 car. But up front, still Zane Farrell, Kyle Souza, Wyatt Alexander, the new third-place driver there in the 96 car. Ryan Messer right in behind him. Kenny Kibbe rounding out the top 5.
And then right in behind you, House was trying to get a spot in the line, muscled his way into position number 6, top 7, top 8 or so, or single file back to a double file train about middle of this pack. We are past the lap 200 mark, less than 50 laps to go in the GNG's Gift Oxford 250, and it's time to go. If you're Kyle Souza to the back bumper of the 14 of Zane Farrell, we got one around in the back straightaway at Salvatore. We stay Green Flag Racing as the 4 of Souza trying to solve Zane Farrell.
Farrell holding on to it with less than 50 laps to go here in the Oxford 250. Things are getting ready to get spicy for that 14 car. He's got Souza all over the back bumper of the 14 car. Smoke is in the air. Where there's smoke, there's usually wrecked race cars. There's Ryan Salvatore off the pace. We stay green as he tries to get that thing down on pit road. And oh, by the way, the door has been kicked open. Souza to the bottom, to the lead, to the point, crossing the stripe here on lap 206. New leader, the number 4 car of Kyle Souza.
And Wyatt Alexander trying to shove the nose in there. He's got one way off the track in turn number 1. We stay Green Flag Racing. Here comes the number 1 of Ryan Messer working to the inside of Zane Farrell as they work down into corner number 1. Slow car in the groove ahead of the leaders. He'll get going, and we will stay green. It's go time for sure for these guys up front. There goes the number 4 of Kibbe.
And speaking of number 4 and speaking of storylines, keep in mind we had that little bit of contact between the 1 and the 4 car of Souza and Messer. Those drivers are currently in the top 3, sharing the podium right now. Souza in the lead, Messer in 3rd. And you got to wonder if that beef has been squashed or if they're going to try and keep in mind. But Farrell back to 5th, Uhouse in 3rd. Kopech still holding on that original set of tires. 208 laps on those tires, getting his money worth out of those good years for sure.
Race car drivers do not forget, and I can almost
That's
guarantee
true.
you if there is a restart late in this race and they line up nose to tail like they would be if there was a caution out right now, sure Ryan Messer would not forget what transpired there in between them. A couple of side-by-side battles here. You see Kopech trying to get in front of Mar Hefka, and he will do so. And in behind them, we talked about the cycle of green flag pit stops. John Peters, who dominated the first half of this race, product of Oxford, can't go anywhere, sitting in 11th.
Single file action here with 40 laps to go. Souza up front, Wyatt Alexander in 2nd, Ryan Messer in 3rd, and that 3rd place position being under attack now from Kenny Kibbe in the 4 car. All over the back bumper now of the number 1 of Ryan Messer. Zane Farrell tried to make a little bit of a shot there, a little bit of a mishap, goes on the outside, and Libby goes by in that 46 car, and he's going to try and get a little bit closer to the front, and Kyle Souza holding on to the lead.
And for Zane Farrell, keep this in mind, too. He sits 3rd in the points. We talked about this being a points race and all, and there's a couple of drivers that need to start making some gains on John Peters, and if you're Zane Farrell, you're ahead of John Peters here by a couple of positions as long as you can maintain. I'm going to change for 3rd as Kenny Kibbe goes to the inside of Ryan Messer, and Messer once again stuck on the outside line. Libby trying to go to the inside. He will do so, and oh, by the way, here comes Zane Farrell. Brandon Uhouse. Here comes the back of the field if you're Ryan Messer because you're being freight trained to the back.
Brent Roy making an appearance here in the top 10 once again in that number 26 car. All over the back bumper now of the number 3 of Brandon Uhouse. Ryan Messer still going the wrong direction. There's the 56 car. Just got the free pass. A few caution flags ago. He's making the best of it up in the top 10, holding on to 8th and setting his sights on 7th, right on the back bumper there of Brent Roy. These drivers know that it's time to go. And speaking of drivers, that's, oh boy, little bit of 3 wide, 4 wide action. John Peters got a piece of that, and I think those old tires, 216 laps, might be the end of it there for Dylan Kopeck in the 16 car. Caution flag flies as Kopeck down and around in the beach.
And John Peters tried to get by Dylan Kopeck after he got the apron, and we'll see what transpired to bring out that caution. But Peters was already into it, Paul, because between him, Libby, and Roy, earlier in the top 3, they came down pit road. They had to work their way through traffic. You can see Roy and you can see Libby ahead of this. John Peters had to work his way through, and it didn't exactly work out here.
There you can see Peters all over the back bumper of the 16. Gave him a little bit of a tap, let Kopeck know that he was there. He wanted to get on, down, and around, side by side and behind him. And there you can see the 16 just loses the back end of the race car. Nowhere for Peters to go. Tried to get around on the outside, but unfortunately got a little bit of damage, a little bit of John Peters sandwich in between the 16 of Kopeck and the 17 NH of Lord. And it's going to send Kopeck down in the beach, going to give him an opportunity to come down pit road and put some fresh rubbers on that number 16 car. So that'll be something to take a peek at, something to keep an eye on as the 16 comes off of pit road with 4 fresh tires. Souza holding on to the lead. Ryan Libby, Kenny Kibbe, Zane Farrell, and Brent Roy, the top 5 here on lap 218.
And a couple of drivers, including Wyatt Alexander, coming on to pit road to get service to his race car on this caution. And this is about the time in the race where you balance. If we go green the rest of the way, is track position going to be key, or 4 tires going to be key? As Alexander is probably going to restart inside the top 15 somewhere, just barely. Kyle Souza is going to have the lead. Ryan Libby, of those that came down a little bit earlier on that caution, we talked about Libby, Roy, Peters being one of them on that round of caution flag pit stops. Libby's been able to get back to second. Brent Roy is going to start on the inside of row number 3 in position number 5. So there's a couple of drivers that we're going to have to keep our eye on. John Peters, I believe, came down pit road on that caution flag anyway. So he'll have tires on that one to come back to green flag racing as they start to double up behind the pace car.
30 laps to go here at Oxford Plains. This caution brought to you by Icy Hot. Gonna have to get that flag man some Icy Hot for waving that flag as hard as he has been all afternoon long here, but that's to be expected here in the iRacing world, the sim racing world, and here at Oxford Plains. Door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper action all the way around the racetrack all afternoon long, and it comes down now to the final 30 laps. Going to be Souza on the inside, Libby on the outside, Kibbe, Farrell, and Roy the top 5. Uhouse, Belvedere in the number 56 car, a route in the 44 for Scott McDonald, Ryan Messer, and John Peters rounding out the top 10. Lights are off on the pace car. We're lined up 2 by 2, getting ready to go racing one more time here at Oxford.
Who comes out with the win in the GNG's Gift Oxford 250 pace car is off. Souza in command. Great start there. Green flag flies. We're back underway. The 46 of Libby trying to find a spot in the line in front of Kenny Kibbe. He will do so. Top 3 single file back to Brent Roy, Zayton Farrell, and the rest of the gang that are battling for 4th on back.
The gang's all here, and it is go time. We are racing, green flag racing, with less than 30 laps to go in the big show here this evening. Brent Roy down on the bottom side, trying to hold on to that 3rd spot, but he's got the 56 and the 4 side by side. Right in behind him, John Peters making his way back up towards the front in the 09 car with fresh tires, doing everything he can down on the bottom side of the racetrack to get up to the front of the pack and to get up there cleanly to make sure he's still got himself a car to try and win this race as we approach 25 laps to go here at Oxford Plains.
John Peters has to go and has to go now, but he's got a couple of 229 Autosport teammates ahead of him, so you got to balance your new tires and balance your teammates as well as he's looking to the inside of the 56, and Evan keeps that spot. Brent Roy keeps the train in behind him as the other 2 in front of him are leaving the station.
And you can see Peters all over the back bumper of the 56. He's got those fresh tires. He's got the patience. He needs to get up towards the front, though. 25 laps to go on the board. 24 as we cross the stripe. He gets around Alexander. Big oof.
U-House around in turn number 4, and he had some impact from behind after he had spun, and that would bring the caution flag out. I think, no, I was going to say, Paul, I think the spin was all by himself, but I stand corrected looking back at this U-House Racing Designs instant replay.
And there you can see focusing on that 3-car. Gets a little bit of a bumpski there from Lewandowski in the 01 car. Kind of a long, slow, lazy slide out into the beach. And there's a little bump there from the 13 car, sending him on a little bit further into the sand there. Lots of bent up sheet metal on that 3-car, but he ends up grabbing a gear in the U-House Racing Designs Camaro. Going to grab a gear and might come down pit road, get some service done to that machine, joining the 22, the 4, and the 14 car that have all come down pit road to get some service. Maybe throw that last set of tires on that car and see what it is they can do here in the final 22 laps. Still out front, though, Kyle Souza, Ryan Libby, Evan Ballou, John Peters, and Brent Roy, the top 5.
And just as that caution flag was happening, the train was getting ready to leave the station on Brent Roy. Roy was being freight trained on the outside line by Mr. Belvedere, Mr. Peters, and Jason Ricker was taking a look to the inside of the 26 as that caution flag flew. So the 229 Autosports team running, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right now, all the way back to Wyatt Alexander. And technically 9th place with Ryan Messer there as well. So they've got 6 in the top 9. But now they've got to try to solve the top 2. Souza has been good all day long. Ryan Libby has been within the top 5 all day long, minus some pit stops. And now they've got the 2-point leaders in behind looking to pick up the Oxford 250 victory. Lights atop the pace car, I believe, are still on, so another lap and a half or so before we go back to green.
And you saw the 3-car Brandon Newhouse able to get down off of pit road in front of the pace car. So he's going to stay on the lead lap in that 16th position, trying to make something happen. He's up 7 spots from where he qualified towards the back of the pack and gained another spot as Steve Daddio in the 99 car slides on back to that 16th spot, giving a position to Brandon Newhouse. And there go the lights on the pace car. They are off. Less than 20 laps to go. We're lining them up here, Tim, 2 by 2. All the way through. Souza and Libby up in the front row. The 56, the 09 of Peters, Brent Roy there in the top 5. Ricker, Alexander, Parent, Messer, and Arut, the top 10, as we get ready for the restart here with 19 laps to go.
Pace car wants to stay at 1 more lap, so we're going to let him stay at 1 more lap, and we'll be back to green the next time by the stripe to complete lap 233, so we will restart with 17 laps to go in the GNG's gift of Oxford 250 and see who can solve Kyle Souza. Souza has had an up and down day, up to the front, out to the back, involved in a couple of incidents, but now has an opportunity in his first technical start of the season to take away the victory in his first point start of this year. Pace car is going to dip off at this time, and he's going to have Ryan Libby to the outside, who knows a thing or two about winning in the Shift Marketing Design Grand National Series. Green flag back out. Keep an eye on Peters. See where Peters slots in here as Souza tries to hold Libby to the outside. And Mr. Belvedere says, hello, I want that spot. Goes to the inside, pokes that nose down there for second.
Brawling for the top 5, top 6. Everybody in behind, about single file. Souza holding on to the lead. 56 car in second. John Peters now on the inside. 3rd car on the inside, side by side with Ryan Libby holding on to that 4th position as he slides on high up the racetrack just a little bit, crossing the stripe here. 15 laps to go. There's Brent Roy trying to get up around Libby in the 46 machine, move his top 5 run up just a little bit closer, but everybody's chasing Souza, and John Peters trying to take a peek down on the bottom side, seeing if he can slide into the 2nd spot, but it's going to tuck back into 3rd for right now.
The 2 takeaways from that, John Peters was able to get an odd-numbered position, so if we do have a caution, he would restart in 3rd. Ryan Libby was able to break up the 229 Autosports guys to sit in 4th, but again, that is an even-numbered position if we do get one more restart in this one. But here comes Peters. Peters looking to the inside. He's not going to rely on one more caution flag. He's trying to get around his teammate as he was before. And oh, by the way, 2 around in turn number 1, and that will draw the caution flag.
Yeah, speaking of caution flag, big bada boom back there, and it looks like Zane Farrell involved in this one in that 14 car. Tough break, having a good solid run here in the 250, and not quite calling it a wrap just yet, but finding himself in the wrong spot at the wrong time here. We're going to pull up the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. Focus in on that number 14 car. You can see there's a little bit of contact between the 3 and the 17. The 3 checks up. Zane tries to go down on the inside. There's more contact. There's 2 more 13 cars making contact with each other. And as Zane tries to get back on track, unfortunately, David Arute was there in the Scott McDonald number 44 machine. And both drivers grab a gear, pointed in the right direction, get going once again. But I'm going to have to restart there in the tail end of the line here. And now that we've had a couple of cautions, looks like 16 cars on the lead lap here, potentially 17, as Cody LeBlanc going to end up getting the free pass in the 13, the DJ Girard machine, as you can see him getting down and around. And one thing to focus in on, we're going to get a restart with less than 10 laps to go. I think that 26 has fresh tires, Tim.
He has less than 10 laps to go, and he has about 18 cars to pass in the world's fastest parking lot, so I don't think it's really going to matter a whole lot.
But it might.
Well, if it helps for him, he's won a race this year on fresh tires. I just don't think it's going to be much of an issue here this afternoon. May as well use them, though. The virtual Goodyear tires are free. So mention that 1 point off of that last restart. The 9 or the 09 of John Peters going to have that inside line starting position. The 46 of Ryan Libby going to start on the outside. But Kyle Souza has to get the restart of his sim racing career if he wants to win this one here, because John Peters has, I think, the fastest overall race car, short run, long run. I think it's better, and he's got the fresher tires than those 2 ahead of him. So this, I don't want to say this is John Peters' race to lose, because he may have to use that bumper and muscle somebody out of the way. And there's the telling tale. Him and Wyatt Alexander on the same tires. Souza on the oldest tires, I believe, looking at this graphic of the top 5.
And Bollier in second has relatively fresh tires, 48 laps on those Goodyears, so he's in a really good spot in that outside the outside spot there in P2 on the outside of the 4 car of Souza. And you can see Liberty and Peters right in behind them. Messer up there as well. Wyatt Alexander in the 96 in the top 5 as well. Green flag flies once again. John Peters down on the inside. Going to get around for second. Going to set his sights now on the lead with 7 laps to go here at Oxford.
He's got to go. Does he muscle the Souza car out of the way to try to pick up the win? And the GNG's give 250 points. That thing to the inside. Souza slams the door, and Peters starting to tickle that back bumper just a little bit. Alexander's able to come away with 4th. They're side by side for 5th, but Souza has his hands full.
White knuckle racing for all these drivers, including the 09 of John Peters in second, all over the back bumper now. 5 laps to go here at Oxford, playing the 09 all over the back bumper of our leader Souza, trying to see if he's going to make a mistake. Goes a little bit on the high side, goes wide. The 09 car trying to make the magic happen, making that car high, wide, and handsome. Slams the door in the 56 of Polier. Sets his sight again on the back bumper, trying to take another shot here at the 4 car with 4 laps to go.
If he continues to diamond off the corner, though, Paul, and trying to cross him over like that, you better believe that Belvedere is going to be there. I know he wants to win this race, but there's also points in line. Bump, bump, bump at turn number 4. They'll come by this time with 3 laps to go, and another shot to the shorts to the right rear of the 4 of Souza. The 09 of John Peters trying to get that run down into corner number 3. Can he get there? Another shot into the back bumper. He is faster, but he's got to get around. 2 laps to go, and he lost the handle of the car that time at a 4.
Popsicle sticks in the air. 1.5 laps to go here in the GNG's gift Oxford 250, the inaugural running. The 09 car of John Peters all over the back bumper of Souza, trying to make it happen. He's going to go high, he's going to go wide, and he's going to do it handsomely. 1 lap to go. White flag, a white rag for Souza and Peters. The top 2 drivers all over each other. The 56 of Polier is there as well in 3rd, and it's side by side as we go down into turn number 3. Checkered flag waving in the air. It's going to go. Big slide for the 09 of Peters. He's going to finish this race sideways. He's going to finish this race in second as Kyle Souza comes home with the victory. He's already doing his burnout there outside of turns number 1. How about that?
What a finish to this GNG's gift Oxford 250, and Kyle Souza is going to go to victory lane and pick up the win in his first Shift Marketing Design Grand National Series start of the season, and that's huge. Your 2-point leaders, John Peters, Evan Belvedere, second, and a third, Alexander and Jason Ricker, your top 5. Oh, by the way, 229 Autosports 2, 3, 4, and 5 this afternoon. Devin Marhefka, Charles Lewandowski, Kenny Kibbe, Ryan Libby, and Reagan Parent, your top 10. What a show.
What a show indeed. 250 laps in the book for the inaugural running of the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Group. Shift Marketing and Design, Grand National, Greg's Gift, Oxford 250, longest race name here in the Vidane TV history, and longest race in the books here for the NEPs League, and it's won by Kyle Souza in the 4-car, and you can see burning him down there on the front straightaway, and letting everybody know that we're here to put on a show here, and we just saw one heck of a show here, Tim.
Absolutely, we did, and hats off to these drivers. A long green flag run at the start, and a couple of cautions in the middle, but I believe our winner, Paul, is joining us, Kyle Souza.
Absolutely. Kyle on the front straightaway, burned him down just a little bit, celebrating with the fans, coming home. Very first start here in the NEPs League, coming home with a victory, and the biggest race of the year, the Oxford 250, brought to you by Grand National, Greg's Gift. And congratulations, Kyle. Great run. What was going through your mind there on those old tires coming to that final restart?
Yeah, thanks, guys. First of all, thanks for broadcasting it. Nice by the guys to put this race on a Sunday afternoon when it's freezing outside. Yeah, it was pretty stressful, man. I've run a lot of races on here and seen a lot of races in real life, but yeah, we were kind of in a bad spot with those tires. But the way the track was, you really couldn't pass at all. So if you just held the bottom, I knew we'd be in a good spot, and came out with the win.
And up there battling and brawling with some of the fastest drivers here in the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Group. John Peters, one of the fastest drivers here, if not the fastest here on Oxford. Strong all afternoon long. Late race caution, found himself on pit road and came up towards the front of the pack and all over the back bumper there. Could you feel the tension in between the two drivers and between the two race cars? Did you feel the 09 car giving you a little bit of a shot there, or was it all focus out that windshield?
Oh no, I could feel it. We kind of knew. We kind of knew what the situation was. We kind of decided we were going to stay out there at the end and try to hold them off. And I knew they had come with tires, and I think the cautions actually helped us out. There's a couple there in the last 50 laps, because if it would have went green for a long period of time, they just had better tires. But it worked out. I had Richie Murray up in the spotter area, did some crew chief and some great spotting to let me know in the gaps. We had Josh Hedges in there trying to calm me down after I made a couple reckless moves earlier. I spun out Reagan Parent, so sorry to him. I think I get into somebody else too at some point. So I was pretty reckless in the first half of the race, but was able to kind of calm down. Josh helped me out a lot, Richie as well, and worked out.
Tire strategy winning it here at Oxford. Kyle, great run here tonight in that number 4 car. I want to give you the opportunity to thank anybody that makes it happen here for you, for the virtual 4 teams, friends, family, sponsors, fans, anybody out there that makes it happen. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, again, definitely got to thank Richie Murray, Josh Hedges for helping out right from the drop of the green through the end there, right through the victory burnouts. They were a big part of this. And Souza Media, obviously, on board. The paint scheme is not exactly what I wanted. I completely spaced that out. But, yeah, really just Souza Media, all the clients, Souza Media. And, again, thanks to you guys and the group for putting this on. This was a lot of fun. Hope I can run with you guys a little bit more.
Absolutely. Making his first start here in the NEPs series, coming home with a big victory in the inaugural Oxford 250. Congratulations, Kyle. Go celebrate.
All right. Thanks, guys.
And a little bit further on down pit road, Tim, I believe you've caught up with our second place finisher, the reigning defending back-to-back series champ, John Peters in the 09 car, finished the second.
And he leads the 229 Autosports 2, 3, 4, 5, and a bunch of others at the back of the field. John, what else did you need at the end of the race to get by Souza?
I think just track position. I just got there too late and made a mistake early on there and got a black flag on pit road that kind of set me back. And from there, you're just trying to race back uphill. And Kyle did a good job putting his car out front of us. And that's what was most important at the end. Just really, really tough to pass. And I didn't feel like I could move him off the bottom without wrecking him. So I just tried to race it fairly and almost had something there working on the outside, but too little too late. So congrats to Kyle on a great win and a fun race. A lot going on in that one, that's for sure.
To that point, if you would have went to the outside a couple of laps earlier, do you think you could have at least pulled even and made it a show at the end? I know the tires were in your advantage. The outside line hasn't been an advantage of anybody all race long, but could you have set it up a little bit earlier and maybe made it more of a race?
Yeah, possibly. It's hard to say, right? I knew I had Evan right behind me, and I I was trying to play the risk reward. If I go up there too soon and it's not what I need and I get passed, then there goes my entire shot at winning the race. So I wanted to try to time it right and not leave myself too much of a window to fall back if it didn't work. Now, hard to say if it would have worked or not. I feel like I probably picked up a quarter panel on him there in that one lap. So it probably would have taken 3 or 4 real consistent ones up top, but it's really tough up there. There's just no grip. So everybody hunkers right around the bottom, which is kind of what you saw. So I feel like I did what I could, but you never know. It's hard to say.
You lead the 229 Brigade again. You come out of here with a good finish and a second place effort. It's a great points night. Overall, and everything that went on today, you have to be happy with the way this race panned out.
Yeah, I'll absolutely take it, man, especially in the middle of that race there when the pit strategy got jumbled up and all of a sudden I'm in deep in the field and getting wrecked and coming back in and restarting 14th. You kind of wonder where your race is headed at that point. So to be able to at least come back into the top 5 even, I'm pretty happy with that. Certainly it doesn't hurt for the season-long points battle. So these are positives. Of course, wanted to win that one real bad, but we'll take second.
Who else is on this race car? Who helps you out down there? Because I know there's a lot of 229 guys that work together to make this thing happen.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I appreciate you guys doing this and putting the GNG graphics all over this race. And thanks to Corey and Zane for letting us do that, and all the drivers who have come to support this and who came to do the open qualifying session. I really do appreciate it. Of course, thanks to my mom for watching. Patty, I think she's watching. And then GNG's gift, of course, Digby's Variety, Libby Septic Service, 4 Seasons Synthetic, Turn 4 Automotive, and Performance. We appreciate everybody tuning in this afternoon. I know Sunday's a busy day for folks, so we appreciate it. And shout out to 229 who grabbed 2, 3, 4, 5 today. We'll take that.
There you go. A great effort by this team in the 09 effort. Congratulations, John, and we will see you 4 or 5 days. Hickory's up next.
That's right. We go from one ice rink to another.
There you go. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
It's John Peters finishing in position number 2 here this afternoon in the GNG's Gift Oxford 250. And our third place finisher today, Paul, is the second place guy in points. Another great effort for the 56 car.
Yeah, phenomenal run in the points in the coming home with a podium finish here. Evan Belvedere. I'm going to get your name right one of these days for sure, but a great solid run for the 56 team. Talk to us, man. Great run.
Evan Bollier.
Bollier.
There you go.
Got to correct by some of the fans in the stands, but man, oh man, great run.
Yeah, that was a lot more exciting than I was hoping it would be. I remember telling you guys before the race, had me in position with 50 to go, and I just used the tires up on that first run, got trapped a lap down, and couldn't get back on the lead lap. Got spun a couple times in this position to get the lead, to get the lucky dog, and finally got it with, I don't know, 60-ish to go, and put right side tires on. Didn't have enough time to take all 4, and had to work our way back through the field there, and things kind of worked out in our favor. We were in the right lane a couple times, and we had a shot at it.
Absolutely, and some great racing all afternoon long here over the past couple hours here at Oxford Plains, and lots of different strategies going into it, lots of different storylines, and lots of cars passed back and forth throughout the field, up and down on the scoring pylon and landing on the podium here after a top 5 qualifying effort, and making that 56 kind of a strong contender here for the points. Made mention he came in 13 points behind the leader in second. So a great finish here on the podium and a good points night overall as well.
Yeah, that's that was a big thing. 250 laps, a lot can happen. And the same as the other night at Talladega, and John and I will. He got the better of me again today, so we'll lose a couple points, but just taking out the as much damage as we can, especially for that kind of race. And I know John was in a similar spot. He took tires and had to go to the rear at some point. So me and him both, I think him and I did a really good job getting back through the field. And at that last restart, my tires were pretty well cooked. I didn't have anything for the 4, and John kept trying to make a move, and I was hoping he, something would happen there, and just didn't want to get in the middle of it.
100%. And tires the name of the game here tonight, and tire strategy, or this afternoon. I keep messing that up. Another nickel in the jar here. Sunday afternoon racing here on Vidane TV, but a solid run for the 56 team. Want to give you the opportunity here, Evan. Who makes it happen for the virtual 56 team? Who gets you to and from the virtual racetrack?
Well, I appreciate you guys, the whole series. I think we put on a pretty good show today. I hope the fans enjoyed it. Got to thank Hancock Lumber, Restorations Home Remodeling, Sunday Morning Farm, Bully Construction, K&B Automotive, EJ Drywall, and all of the guys at 229 Autosports, Amsoil Four Seasons Synthetic, LB Cleaning Co., JPS. Yeah, I got a lot of great partners, and I just love doing this. This is a lot of fun.
And a lot of fun to watch for sure here at the Oxford 250, the inaugural running of the Oxford 250. And a good solid run, good solid points night on to Hickory. You got anything for us at the next short track?
Yeah, I just feel like I struggled there with the ARCA car, so that track is definitely different. But we've been, just got to get the practice in, and once again, hope just qualify well, and hope we can stay near the front.
100%, and a solid run here. Top 3 podium finish for the 56. Congratulations, Evan.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
100%, and a couple of drivers kind of peeking in and out of the broadcast booth here. We're going to try and talk to all these drivers that we can, but we do want to talk to one of the race and one of the series sponsors, Brandon Uhouse, owner of Uhouse Racing Designs. I actually got the text message before the race. My button box is in the mail, or it's going to be in the mail here. It's starting tomorrow, so I'm really excited, looking forward to that. Uhouse Racing Designs jumping on board as a sponsor here on the network at Verdane TV as well. But little bit of a giveaway action going on here. Top 10 drivers are eligible for a free button house. That's not a thing. A free button box here, Brennan. And I've got 10 pieces of paper here labeled 1 through 10 in this styrofoam cup, and it's not really working out because it's all staticky and they're all stuck here, Brandon. But while I shake these numbers up and try and get a random draw here for the top 10 for a winner of one of those button boxes, give us a little rundown. Let us know what's going on over at Uhouse Racing Designs.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. So we just jumped on board Verdane to give a season sponsor for any of his broadcasts. So we specialize in button boxes, any type of designs, real life, iRacing, whatever you need. Just let us know. But we decided to come on board for this race. Obviously having a lot of involvement in the NEP series, so we decided to do a top 10 for one of our mini button boxes. We have a lot of really neat stuff coming. LCD dashboards, tachometers, you name it. We're kind of putting it together. Me and myself and another a friend of mine, Mealy Customs. He's been kind of the brains behind it, and I've been kind of the voice behind it. So we're partners together for that. So a lot of fun stuff, and we're excited to get one of these away.
And we're going to get a little bit of a silent drum roll here as we go to pull one of these 10 numbers out. And it's going to go, the mini button box is going to go to the 8th place finisher. And that is going to be Kenny Kibbe in the number 4 car for Nocturnal Gaming. So Kenny Kibbe going to be the random draw winner for that mini button box. And if somebody wanted to go out and buy their own button box here, Brandon, how would they go about doing that?
Anywhere, if you can find me on iRacing or Facebook. Facebook's where we do most of our designs. Mealy Customs has a Etsy page that's dedicated to sim racing components and 3D printed components as well. So we have a lot of different avenues. If you know somebody that knows me, have them give you my contact, and we'll get you set up with one.
100%. And got to give you a quick thanks for jumping on board with the Verdane TV sponsorship and handing out some hardware here to our 8th place finisher, Kenny Kibbe. Random top 10 draw. Picked it out of the cup right now. Maybe we'll post a picture here on the Facebook page with the race recap. But awesome stuff going on. Uhouse Racing Designs on Facebook. Search for Brandon and Uhouse over on iRacing as well and get you one of these button boxes. It's good stuff. But 250 laps here in the book, Tim, and just taking a look. Looks like there's a couple drivers hanging out kind of in the waiting room. I see maybe you've caught up with that driver, the 26 car, Brent Roy.
I have to look way down the results to see where he finished, though.
It's like 83rd, I think.
Yes, so 17th unofficially here, Brent. Why did you come down pit road with 10 to go?
Well, we decided that the end of lead lap cars was 16th. We were running 13th. We had burned our stuff up. It was kind of like, well, let's pit, put 4 fresh tires on it. We're really not going to lose much from where we are. Didn't anticipate on the restarting on the outside. Kind of got hung out there by some traffic, and it just didn't pan out. But as they always say, that's racing. Sometimes you're on the good side, sometimes you're on the bad side. And for the last 10 laps, we were on the bad side.
Now, I know we see you flex your muscle on the road courses. Saw that win here last week. The big tracks. You got the win at Charlotte. We've got a string of short tracks here. We go to Hickory now. So what's the thoughts going into Hickory? Have you done any test laps there yet?
We did preseason tests there, but I don't know. I'm a little apprehensive about that because I don't really excel at the shorter tracks. There's a lot of guys in here that are a lot better than I am. So um, nervously optimistic to hopefully come out of there not with a bad result. And then if we can get through Hickory, the next stop is in our home country up in Montreal. So I'm really excited to get there and been running some laps there. So, just want to kind of get through Hickory and then it's on to a road course and then 2 bigger tracks.
And again, another great race for 229 Autosports. I know not the finish that you wanted, but the team put up a pretty good effort tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one point there on a restart we were lined up, I think, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th on the inside row and one of us on the outside or something. So, for P2, 3, 4, 5 for John Evan Wyatt and Jason is phenomenal for the team. Some pretty cool shots that way. And, can't be more than can't be any happier for those guys, that's for sure. And especially, what this race means and everything. So really happy to see that.
Who's on this race car? Who do you want to thank?
Recar, Sewell's Paving, my mom and dad, and my girlfriend for letting me do all this fun stuff. I know that they're probably sitting at home watching the broadcast today, where it's not real late at night, and they got my son Jace there watching it too, so that'll be cool for him. I was hoping to get a better result for those folks, but didn't. Really big thanks to Vidane TV, TCM, and the league officials at NEP for hosting these races. They're a lot of fun. This one is a little frustrating for the 26 camp, but all in all, they're a ton of fun to be a part of.
So Hickory next week, and there might be a Super Series race I hear coming up on Vidane TV maybe next weekend. So you might have a couple of more good finishes coming up on the horizon. Congratulations on finishing all 250 laps today. We will see you at Hickory.
Absolutely, yeah. We can't wait to get the car cover off that truck sitting in the corner of the shop. Take it to Talladega.
There you go. There's Brent Roy. Not the effort that he wanted to get tonight, Paul, but should still maintain a top 5 position in points as we head down the road.
Yeah, and we made mention a couple of times here, Hickory Motor Speedway going to be the next track on the schedule here, going to be Thursday night. NEPs Night in America weekly here on Thursday nights. And we made mention a couple of times here before the show, you need to get over on Twitter. You need to follow these guys at NEPI Racing as well as at NEPs Bets and just kind of follow along with the friendly banter, I guess we can call it, between the drivers here in the NEPs series. Always entertaining to watch. And then these guys kind of set everything on the back burner and do battle on the racetracks here in the virtual world of iRacing. Live on Vidane TV, and it's always fun to follow along here, but a great show here tonight. This afternoon. Great show this afternoon. We still got time this afternoon. We might have to go do some racing here just so we can get the verbiage correct. But 250 laps here in the book for the inaugural GNG Oxford 250. And again, make mention Greg Peters. Happy birthday. It would have been his 69th birthday this past Thursday. No, he was definitely up watching this one for sure, and we hope that he was entertained here by the virtual Oxford 250. But on to the next one. Thursday night, going to be racing at Hickory. I believe that's actually the first time Vidane TV is going to pull the production trailer into Hickory Motor Speedway. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and we're really looking forward to that. But for everybody here with Grand National Greg's gift, congratulations to the winner of that sponsorship, Mr. Lamb. Going to be fun to watch and follow along the 2022 season to see what he's able to do with that, and I'm sure he'll come home with a couple of hardware pieces as well. Check out U-House Racing Designs on Facebook. Mini button boxes, big button boxes, paint schemes, all sorts of iRacing stuff, and sim racing gadgets by sim racers for sim racers. So check that out over on Facebook, facebook.com/U-House Racing Designs, as well as the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series halfway through Season 3. John Peters, the points leader, heading into Hickory this Thursday night, and it's still very, very tight up in the top 5 for those points. So lots of action to come, and it's going to be an exciting season, exciting second half of the season for sure. But everybody here at Vidane TV, stay safe, stay warm. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., Tim Terry up here in the booth. We will catch you guys on the flip side, and when we do, we are going to be doing it live.